Well, hello guys. Welcome to another live stream. It's a great Friday night. A little nippy in Georgia, but it's I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys and answering the lawn care questions. So, for any of you guys that are new to this is the Ron Henry live stream where I take your lawn care questions. It's all about helping you achieve your lawn care goals. I mean, it's still wintertime, but we can start talking about things for spring prep. I'll give you guys some ideas around some of the things that I'm planning to do. And I thought, again, while I get your questions, you guys can also let me know what you're planning on for this spring as well, like what you're doing to get ready for the spring. I see some people got some backpack sprayers and some other stuff going on, but yeah, it should be a great time. So let's see who we have in the live stream tonight. So Grace Ortiz has the honor of being first person in the live stream tonight in chat. Welcome, Grace. Welcome. Ned is in town. Ned G's in Chicago or Northwest Indiana. And dealing with snow. See, Alex, like I was telling you in chat, Ned, snow is moving things in the wrong direction. We need the weather to get warmer so our grass will start growing again. But I totally get what you're saying there. Hopefully things get warmer here for you sooner. Hey, Daryl, Bermuda Brian, how's it going, man? Jeremy, Mr. Information Security, JG's in the house. Let's see, Super TA. And everyone else. Yeah, we got Lee and Cheryl and awesome. This is a great time, guys. So this time of year is typically there's not a whole lot going on in the lawn, but there's still things that you can do. I can give you guys an update. Some of the things I've been working on. This past week I've been filming some content for the course. It's interesting. I'm gonna have to put like a disclaimer in the beginning of it, and like saying it because I'm filming a lot of this stuff while the lawn is dormant, because a lot of it is around like using lawn equipment and doing like sprayer calibration, things like that. But it's gonna look kind of weird, to have a course talking about how to create an amazing lawn when some of the footage is gonna be showing the lawn when it's in dormancy. But I think people will overlook that. So great stuff. So let's see. I think we had a question here tonight. The first question of the evening, I think, goes to Jeremy. And the question he had was around pre-emergent. Just when should I be putting down another round of pre-emergent? Jeremy, it's probably a little bit early, but the best way to answer your question depends on what you've been doing up till now. So if you put down a fall pre-emergent, so September, October timeframe of last year, if you put down a pre-emergent, you should be good up until next month, like late next month. A lot of the lawn care places in this area, granted, because the number of lawns they have, they start doing them earlier so they can get through all of them before weeds start germinating. But really, if you're doing your own pre-emergent in the spring, you want to get it down right around when soil temps get around 50 degrees. So the way you can know that is to you can use the Yard Mastery app. I think the app that Alan seems put together will tell you the soil temps in your area, or you can invest $15 in one of these guys. If I can get it to focus. Maybe not. But this is a soil thermometer that you can get off of Amazon. I really like these because they're really fast. They work really well. If you guys have been watching some of the content from last season, you saw me use this. But ideally, you want to get the pre-emergent down prior to weeds really taking off in your lawn. So typically before 50 degrees is when you want to do that. So from a general time frame, I'd say around February, late February, start looking into doing that. But if we get an unusually early spring, so things start warming up sooner than later, then by all means put your pre-emergent down. As far as a pre-emergent to do that you can use, I'm not sure what you're planning, but the one that's commonly used around here is prodiamine. So that's a good one. It's not terribly expensive, and that would be a good choice. Depending on what you're trying to do. But yeah, great question. As it's good to start thinking about that, seeing as how we're getting close to springtime. Well, not quite, but I mean, as springtime gets closer. Let's see what else we have here. So Miles Suckcat says he's just got his Chapin Sprayer and Earthway spreader. Dude, you are all set. You are ready to go. That's awesome, man. So you get the hardware. See, so I like one of the things I always say, right? So as far as like the 4 core tools that you need, not necessarily need, but I mean that are useful if you're going to take on your own lawn care program. So obviously, the first and foremost, most important thing is a quality mower. So depending on your grass type, you got cool season grass, maybe a solid rotary. But if you are on that Bermuda or Zoysia life, you will want to look into a real mower if you're really going for that really tight golf course lawn look. But after that, After that, and after a mower and edging equipments, like a multi-tool, kind of like the Still or like the Echo Paz, something like that, the sprayer and spreader are like the things you really need, because it's a lot of people you'll find that are getting into lawn care, they will quickly buy a spreader because that's a little bit less intimidating. You read the bag, you see what's on the label, you set the spreader settings, and away you go. But sprayers tend to be something that people are a little bit more intimidated by. So maybe that's something we can talk about a little bit tonight. But that's good that you got both of those things, both those tools, Miles, because I think the biggest issue that most people run into when it comes to sprayers is the intimidation around mixing the product, and then also something that people don't also consider is walking speed, right? So like if you don't calibrate your sprayer, or when I say calibrate your sprayer, knowing how long it takes your particular sprayer to output 1 gallon of product. Because if you look at the dilution rates for most products, most liquid products, whether it be a herbicide or fertilizers, a lot of times it will say, a minimum dilution rate of like 1 gallon per whatever the rate is for 1,000 square feet. So like take T-Nex, for example. With T-Nex, it's like, in general, it's like 0.25 ounces per 1,000 square feet per gallon. So with you having a Chapin, that's a 4-gallon sprayer, you'd end up putting an ounce in. So 4 times 0.25 to get to that rate for 4 gallons. But the thing is that also to keep in mind, that a lot of people don't consider, is you got 4 gallons, and ideally you want that 4 gallons to go down over 4,000 square feet. So that's where calibration becomes a thing. I actually, for the Chapin, if you have the same one I have, I can tell you that if you want to time yourself, I should have the numbers here somewhere. Yep. So if you're going to time yourself for the Chapin, you have about 160 seconds. So it's actually, the pressure that comes out of the Chapin is actually not that high. It's between 35 to 40 psi. So if you want something to work on while you're bored, waiting for spring to roll around so you can actually spray some stuff, fill your sprayer up with water, and like mark out 1,000 square feet in your lawn, like measure that out, just like a small 1,000 square foot block, and then practice walking it with the sprayer wide open. And you should put out. It should take you 160 seconds to cover that 1,000 square foot area. If you do that, then you're putting it down. Then you're spraying at the 1 gallon rate, the 1 gallon per 1,000 square foot rate for the Chapin. For the flow zone, if you're using the Typhoon 2, if you're using the one I have, like there's 2 settings. There's at the lower rate, the 70 psi rate, you have like just over 100 seconds. And then if you're using it at the full tilt, like the boss rate, like the 115 psi rate, then it's like 90 seconds, so a minute and a half to walk 1,000 square feet. So that's cool that you got that, Miles. I might make that video public. That's a video that's actually going to be in the course. But I was thinking about, as I got through editing, and it was the information that I thought was really useful, that I might actually just make that one public, just so anyone that's getting into a backpack sprayer can go through it and get some good information. But awesome, man. Congrats on the hardware. I always like to hear people getting new lawn hardware. It's pretty cool. All right, on the lawn training. What's going on, man? Thanks for stopping in tonight. Should be pretty awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, Lee Farmer comes and he says, I am in Chattanooga, which is near you. Yep, Chattanooga's a couple hours, 2.5 hours thereabouts. And I want to put down pre-emergent the same week you do. When do you plan on doing that? 30 days from? Okay, so good news and bad news. So I can tell you what I'll do, Lee, is I will tell you based on my area. What I'll do is I'll put a post on YouTube, and maybe even just do like a really short video saying, hey, if you're in Georgia, if you're in my area in Georgia, Northeast Georgia, now is about when I'm going to put down pre-emergent. But the thing is, this spring, I am not planning on putting down pre-emergent because I'm going to overseed my lawn. I'm really going to go after Arden 15 in the back lawn there. So I don't want to put down pre-emergent because that's going to hurt that. That's going to hurt the seed germination. So I will still list that. Like I'll either talk about it in the live stream, or I will also put down I'll do a post. I'll do a couple of things. I'll do a post. I'll do a YouTube short, whatever. I'll do a couple different ways so you know that, hey, this, if you are in my area in Georgia, because it's based on obviously your location, but Chattanooga's close enough that you can probably apply it around the same time that I would if I were going to be doing it in the spring. But in the spring, I'm not going to be putting down pre-emergent because, again, I am trying to get Arden 15 to really take off this spring. So and it'll make for some cool content too, I think, for you guys. Should be fun stuff. All right, hopefully that helps answer your question. But if not, let me know and I'll revisit it. Around the house with Pat. Let's see, he's saying Good Friday. Today's a Good Friday night. I'm on the biped, Flyers hockey on TV, and enjoying a cheese steak. Doesn't get any better than this. That's pretty awesome. The thing is, Pat, I have yet to really be able to get into hockey. I've been told that hockey is better in person. I did go to it in person, and it's cool. The one thing I will say, it's incredible how cool those guys are, how well they can move on skates. But just I haven't been able to get into it. Maybe I need to watch some more. You need to give me some tips on what I'm missing out on hockey. See if I can really begin to pick it up. All right. Jorge has a question. He says, Ron, my grass is turning yellow. Help. So it depends, Jorge. I'm not sure if you put some more information in like why it's turning yellow. Let me look down here in the chat. You said you put down Scott's grass and you're in California. So it depends. I don't know where in California you are and what the grass type is. But if you're in my area in Georgia, like all of our grass, right? Well, not all of ours, but most people's grass, if you have a warm season grass, is yellow right now. So whenever a warm season grass, when the temperatures get cooler, the grass will turn yellow. It goes into dormancy. Grass kind of goes to sleep for a while till temps get a little bit warmer again. So for Bermuda, typically above 55 degrees is when Bermuda begins to wake up and really begin to do well. But I'm not. You see, you have Scott's grass. I'm not sure what grass type that is. But if you've not applied anything to your lawn, let's say you didn't put down like a herbicide or you put down like a really super heavy fertilizer application or something like that, I'm just going to go on a limb and say it's probably your grass going dormant. But I mean, give me some more information if you can, like around the grass type, and also around the temperatures where you are now, and I'll be able to help you out a little bit more. But if it's not due to an outside influence, like being hit hard with the sprayer or spreader, it's probably dormancy. So we'll see. But I'll keep monitoring the chat and see what you come back with. All right, Miles Suck Cats, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
Super chat received.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome, sir. Yeah, so again, congrats on the sprayer and everything. But yeah, you got me talking about that because that's been on my brain all of this week, last week and a half, and whatnot. So it's yeah, thanks so much for the super chat. I really appreciate the generosity. I appreciate it. Super TA says no video. What do you know video? Does that mean am I off? Are you guys not seeing me? Okay, if you guys can see me in the live stream, just type yes really quickly. I mean, I'm monitoring myself here and I see myself, but if there's no video, just let me know. But I think I'm live. I think I'm live. But yeah, let me know if you guys see me in the live stream. Do two things. You can say yes, type yes in the chat, but you can also hit the like button while you're about to type, and I'll appreciate that. So it'll be pretty awesome. All right, let's see what else let's see what we have here. We have a question from Bermuda Brian. Bermuda Brian, man, thanks so much for chiming in, dude. I love following all your content too on Instagram. You're doing some really cool stuff. But his question is, do you know the difference between Humichar and CarbonPro G? Greene County Fert is getting into sea kelp line. What's the difference in all the kelp products out there? Okay, so without looking at what's on the bag, it's hard to tell you for sure. Between Humichar and CarbonPro G, they're very, very similar. At their base, Humichar and CarbonPro G are part compost and part biochar. So there is that. So at their core, they're very, very similar products. The one thing that CarbonPro G also has going for it is it also has a microbial package included with it as well, which is useful because that's like that liquid aeration thing that that's like the catchphrase that everyone's talking about. So, which I think has a lot of value, right? Because when soil temps get warmer, say above 55 degrees, and the creepy crawlies and microbes wake up, that is what's going to make like your fertilizers and anything else any products you're putting down the lawn, they're going to break that down and make those products available to the turf. So the fact that CarbonPro G, that Lesco / Miramichi Green, also add that to the package, I think is a compelling reason. They're both great products. I think Humichar has their they have that DG technology. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not mixing up products. So Humichar, I believe, dissolves. They designed the product to dissolve very, very easily. So it breaks down really easily and gets down into the soil. CarbonPro G breaks down fairly well too. When I've tested, I've taken it, put it in some water, and seen how quickly it dissolves. It does a really good job. But Humichar is probably a little bit better in that regard. But I mean, the two products are very comparable. As far as kelp goes, I mean, if a product contains like kelp extract, kind of like the CarbonPro L product, so the liquid product from that Lesco sells, they're going to be very similar. I mean, so if you're strictly talking kelp extract for the most part is kelp. The difference will be the amount, the percentage, like how much is in it. And then anything else that's also in the bottle along with it. So good example, like you look at CarbonPro L, the liquid product that has kelp extract in it. And it also has a little bit of iron, like a splash of iron. I think it's like just under 1% iron. It also has a microbial package. It has like a few humates. So it depends on what's also in the package. You can't in a nutshell, the two are the same. Kelp is kelp, but you have to look at what else is included with the in the package as well. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Bermuda brine. They're both great products. I'm a huge fan. Tell you what, dude, man, this past year really made me a believer in carbon products, as well as just doing things adding products to the soil to help the soil be as healthy as possible. Like I like the fact that there's still parts of my lawn that are still, I mean, I'm not going to call them green, but they are less yellow than other parts of my lawn, is due in no small part to all the stuff I've been doing last year as far as really focusing on making the soil as healthy as possible. So like even though I know a lot of these products tend to be a little bit more on the pricey side, but they are well worth it. They're well worth the investment, because any fertilizers that you put down, anything else that you do is just going to work better, because like I was saying in the video I put out last week, like plants grow in soil, they grow in dirt, right? So the better you can make the dirt, the better the plant that we care about, grass, is going to do. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Great. Thanks for chiming in. LG's in the house as always, man. Cool, man. Thanks for the support, man. Thanks for coming to hang out. Backyard all day. Jose Alvarez, Pez guy, Jersey in the house. You guys must be freezing up there. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's cold in Jersey at this moment. Cedric, SoCal Lawn in Order. Dude, I like the new banner. I like the new banner that you have in the garage. I saw it on Instagram. It looks really cool. Now, see, this is the problem with people in California, because they have, they have really nice weather. And is it really necessary to go and rub it in that you're at 87 degrees when you know that most of us on the live stream are suffering? Like my grass is brown and you're dealing with 87 degree weather. Is that nice to come in and tell us that? You think that's very loving? I don't think so, but congrats on the 87 degree weather, sir. I'm sure your lawn is looking probably a lot better than most of the people in this live stream. That's one thing you got to say for California. Depending on where you are in the state, the weather is really, really nice. Weather is very nice. We have Cheryl in the house. Cheryl says, okay, so this is when you know a question is going to go somewhat sideways. When it starts out, I know you said hold off on any more weed killer. Here we go. But I have some very green happy weeds out there. I'm itching to introduce some image. Okay, Cheryl, so are you sure that what's out there is Nutsedge? That image is the best product for that? So if it is, and you really want to go at it again, you can. Because I think the last time you applied image, I think the last time we spoke, it was like early December, right? So it's been a month, 6 weeks almost. So yes, if you wanna smack him again, by all means. If you want to use that concoction that we've been using, the image and Sedge Hammer, that blend. Again, I'm assuming that you're talking about Nutsedge, but if that's what you're dealing with, yeah, I mean, if you want to give it another go, fine. I mean, I think a lot of those products, like image, those types of herbicides tend to work better when they're actively growing. So you'll probably find that they'll be a little bit more effective once temps get a little warmer. But right now, there's not I mean, if you want to knock them down, there's no reason to not do it. Assuming they're not, assuming you're just following rate, and just being careful. Because I know you're on Zoysia, so you want to be careful. You don't want to get too wild on your rate. But let me know in the chat. As I keep scrolling through, I'll see if any follow up comments you make. But let me know if it's primarily Nutsedge you're concerned about, or if it's something else. So pretty cool. All right, Helmus Ruckus. I know Helmus is always, he's been in the market for a mower for a while. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for the input last week. Since then, I was going back and forth between the Greensmaster and Swordman, and now I ordered an Allett Kensington. Thanks anyway. Dude, it's gonna be pretty awesome. The thing is, the Kensington the Allett is a nice mower too, man. They're nice mowers. They make really nice stuff. And they also have the same interchangeable cartridge system. I think, who is it that has some really good content on that? Oh, Sunny Sunny Bermuda. So if you look up Sunny Bermuda on YouTube, he does like an entire unboxing on one and talks all about. He does some really good videos on the mower. So I'm sure there's others too, but I know Sunny's are pretty good. But yeah, man. So when you got the Allett, let me know in the chat. Did you get any other attachments with it, or did you just go just the cutting head, or did you get like some other of the additional modules? What I'm trying to get my hands on this spring, just while we're on the topic of real mowers, is because I plan to verticut in preparation for overseeding. I would like to also get my hand. I'd like to get my hand on a Swordman or one of those multi machines, because when I plan to overseed, I plan to verticut and then overseed and then do a light top dressing. And I want to try out the whole suite, like like Swordman puts out, like either Swordman or Allett or something similar to that, to where I can use the verticutting unit to cut, and then use the brush attachment. I'm sure you guys know they actually make a brush attachment, which is designed for like top dress lawn to kind of work material in. I want to try it out and see how well all of it works. So it could be kind of cool. Make some cool content. 'Cause I'm not sure. I've not seen anyone like do all that in a top dressing video. Perhaps someone's done it, but it'd be cool to try out and just see how it works on my lawn. But congrats, sir, on the Allett. Any reel mower is a good reel mower, so I am glad that you are now you're in the club, man. Congrats! It's an awesome machine. All right, Backyard All Day says, "Hey Ron, you ever put down humic on the lawn while it's dormant or any other soil conditioners?" So there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean, I don't put down the liquid CarbonPro L. I didn't do it in December, and I didn't do it at the beginning of this month. I will start doing it next month. So in February 1st, in addition to putting down CarbonPro G, I will also put down the liquid carbon as well. There's not really a negative to it. You probably don't get as much benefit out of doing it when the lawn is dormant, because what you find with a lot of those products is they'll have a microbial package included with them, and they'll also have, like in the case of CarbonPro L, there's also some iron in it. And right now, I mean, outside of just cementing the soil, like the turf isn't going to, the grass isn't really going to take that up right now, right? So in a nutshell, there's no negative to it, but you're not going to get the full benefit out of it that you would if you applied it when temps are a little bit higher, when the grass is actively growing. But there's no negative to doing it. Like putting down CarbonPro G, like the granular product that I put down. I mean, it's technically a soil conditioner. You know, biochar helps the soil with water retention. It helps with nutrient uptake. It has a ton of benefits to it. And I'm doing that right now while the lawn is dormant. So to answer your question in a nutshell, I've put down, I've been applying CarbonPro G all throughout ever since January of last year. But the liquid product, I have not applied it last month or this month, mainly because the stuff's expensive. And I just want to wait till next month, till 2 weeks, and then I'll start up again doing it monthly. So, but there's no negative to really doing it. So if you have been, you're not doing it wrong. I just chose not to. Let's see. So SoCal Lawn and Order says he has Tip Tough, the TTF, the Fescue, the tongue twister that I can never say, and Kentucky Bluegrass. Cool. That's interesting. SoCal. I wonder how your Kentucky Bluegrass is doing in 87-degree weather. I guess it's fine with that. That's not too hot for it. Cool. Very, very cool. Moro's in the house. Welcome, sir. How glad to see that you're doing well. Thanks for chiming in, for stepping in and saying hi. Let's see. So Tony Davis has a question. He says, I have a few winter weeds in my lawn. Should I just let them go or apply a herbicide? If it were, it depends. For me, I would let it go. Like I have a few small like clovers that are popping up here and there throughout the lawn. And when I'm just walking the lawn, I'll just go and pull them out. But I'm not gonna. I don't have enough cold weather weeds that would warrant a herbicide. But you know, even if I did, I don't think I wouldn't do it. So it depends on what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a huge outbreak, you're dealing with like a bunch of weeds are taking over the lawn, the ones that like cool season, they're starting to kind of get out of hand. Sure, in that case, a herbicide that's targeted for them by all means. But I mean, I try and limit how often I put herbicides on my lawn if I can. Like the thing with having a Bermuda lawn, as soon as Bermuda wakes up, the weeds are going to have a really, really hard time. Like outside of spurge and nutsedge, Bermuda does a really good job of keeping weeds at bay, assuming you're cutting it at the right height. But so it depends. So the answer to your question, Tony, is it depends. If it's a small amount, I would just let it go personally. and just deal with it whenever things come out of dormancy. But if it's a a huge issue, or it's getting bigger and you want to try and stunt them or knock it back a little bit before spring comes around, then you could apply something then. So it kind of depends on exactly what you're dealing with. Let's see who else we have in the house. Chris Balducci. Hey Chris, how's it going? Thanks for coming to hang out. And then Caron Reed says, nutsedge problem. Says, I have a horrible nutsedge problem. It won't die. Thoughts? Yeah, nutsedge is a tough one. Kalinga is like, it's really nasty. So depending on which kind you have, normally the combination of image and sedgehammer, like that concoction, will do a pretty good job against nutsedge. So I'm not sure, Karen. I'm not sure what you're putting down for it. But if you're gonna do this like what I'm suggesting here, if you're gonna do the image, the liquid image and the sedgehammer, you're gonna need to get the concentrate, because image comes in a hose end sprayer. But let me see if I can find it here in concentrate so I can show you that. So it looks kind of like this. Image herbicide. But yes, but you're going to want to get that, and you're also going to want to get sedgehammer. And that you mix those two, put them in a backpack sprayer, mix them at rate. Do not go super heavy, like use the specified rate. And that should do a lot towards stunting the nutsedge. But I mean, what you're looking for is the one that looks like this. If I can get this to come over. Yep, there we go. So it looks like that. So if you want a link to it, if you want a link to image, you can get it here. There. But yeah, that's what you're going to want, because they also make it. It's also available in on a hose end, and that's not going to work for what you're trying to do, where you're trying to apply it at the same time along with sedgehammer. I guess you technically could use a hose end and then just mix up sedgehammer in a backpack sprayer and then go put it down, but that's like double the work. So I would just get that one, the one I just showed you, the one I just linked in chat, the concentrate, and put the two of them together, and away you go. That should help. If it's not, or if you need some more assistance, man, feel free to also reach out to me. Here's my email address. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me like a picture of the of what you're dealing with, and we can see if I can help you out a little bit more. But image and sedgehammer should do the trick. That's a concoction that tends to work pretty well against nutsedge. Okay, cool. So everyone's confirming that you guys can all see me, that I'm on the videos coming through. Thank goodness, man. That would be a disaster. Let's see what else we have here. So Karan Reed says, temperature warm here mostly. So you're in San Diego, you're in California. Okay. I have been struggling with a temperate zone, zone 1. Should I be using to choose the correct grass type? I'm 1 mile from ocean, doesn't freeze here, but cool. Karan, you look like a man like you are really enjoying life. I'm not sure if anyone else can see him here up on the screen, but you're a person that really enjoys life, sir, which is awesome. Yeah, so again, to kind of answer the question, with it being warmer in San Diego, that concoction that I just gave you, the nutsedge and image, should do the trick. If it doesn't, let me know if you need help with mixing it, like as far as like application rates and that kind of stuff. When you read the label, if you're having any more questions, again, feel free to drop me an email here, and I will do my best to help you out. But very cool, man. Glad you're in California and not freezing to death like how the rest of us are, which is no fun. So let's see what else we got here. It's 50 degrees in Philly, around the house, Pat is saying. Let's see what other questions we have. Okay, so Moro has a great question. It says, what resources, information can our local extension office offer us to DIYers? Have you ever used them before? I have not used my local extension office, which is kind of a shame, because I'm not that far from the University of Georgia, where the Georgia Bulldogs play. Go Dogs. And that UGA has a really, really big, like their agriculture program is really big. It's one of the better ones in the nation. And so some of the things they can help you out with. Some of the question that someone that was asked earlier about, I think it was Lee asked earlier about pre-emergent, like when's the adequate the time to apply pre-emergent. That's the kind of questions that they'll help you out with. As far as like what else? As far as soil testing, if you are not using MySoil, which you should be, which I mean, I'm a huge fan of using the MySoil soil test, but they also offer soil testing that offers like some additional information that some people that like to geek out on that kind of stuff can get. But as far as just any advice around like best practices for our particular area, for your particular area, that's something that an extension office can help out with. Again, soil testing is one of the things, but it also as far as if there are any surges in particular types of lawn fungus, or they're seeing it like trends moving towards certain types of lawn pests being more a thing, they're going to have that kind of information. So something to reach out to. In most cases, it's free to kind of get information from them. Soil testing is not free from them, but reaching out to them is something that you can definitely do. I personally have not done it, which again is kind of a shame. I should probably do that this year just to make introductions and whatnot. But as far as soil testing, I'd recommend this. I recommend the one from MySoil. You guys know we've given these away on the live stream quite a bit. This is the one that I use. This is the one that I will be using next month, because I did one in early December. So the end of February, I'll do my spring get ready for go time soil test, so I can see where everything I did in December, like how the lawn's behaving. It's gonna let me know what to get ready for March. And yeah, but yeah, great question, Moro. I do not use mine, but I mean, they're very, very helpful. They're out there to serve the community. I mean, a lot of farmers take advantage of them, but I mean, there's no reason why DIYers can't get some value out of them as well. Let's see. So Michael Harmer says, first live stream, just a little bit late. No, not bad, man. Thank you so much for coming in, Michael. I appreciate you taking some time out of your Friday evening to hang out. That's pretty awesome. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. So a couple of guys we're having real mower talk. So Helmet, his Allett should be, a couple people getting the Allett. So it looks like Humichar got an Allett. Helmet went with the 10 blade. He got the Scarifier and he got the brush. Dude, you went all out. Nice, good job. Just let me know how it goes, how all that equipment works out. So since you have the Scarifier, I get, but if you have the brush, I guess you're planning on a top dress. Is a top dress in the future for this spring? Is that what I'm hearing? I'm kind of reading between the lines there. But yeah, man, congrats on that. That's pretty nice. So the 10 blade reel, I don't know the Allets as well as far as like what offerings there are for those mowers. I know with my Greensmaster, if I'm not mistaken, it's an 8 blade reel, which is about what you want for like the heights of cut that I'm going to maintain at, like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Like that's about right. For 10 blade, I guess, are you planning on going a little bit lower? Is that why you went with the 10 blade helmet? So yeah, if you can, let me know. Very cool. Let's see. Pez Guy says, as a question, he says, I don't know if you answered this last week before I dropped off. Alan said his HOA doesn't allow Bermuda. Why maintenance mower? That's a great question. I don't know. I'll have to ask Alan as why they don't allow it. It could be an appearance thing, because Bermuda looks very, very different to St. Augustine. So it could be that. It could be that that it's just an appearance thing. I mean, if the HOA is really, really picky about how lawns look, St. Aug looks very, very different to Bermuda. I guess that could be it. Encroachment could be an issue, so I could see that could be a problem. So if your neighbor next to you has St. Augustine and you rip out all your St. Aug and put Bermuda down, like they're gonna have a difficult time keeping the Bermuda from trying to encroach in and make a mess out of their St. Aug lawn. So there's also that, but that's a good question. I don't know exactly why they don't allow it. I'll have to ask him, and then that's a good question. I'll make a note of that to ask him that, and I will get an answer for you next week. Great question. Why no Bermuda for Alan? Great question, man. Princess got lawn care in the house. George, what's going on, man? Thanks for chiming in. I appreciate you taking some time to hang out. Let's see. So we have another question here from Jose Alvarez. He says, hi, Ron. I am also in SoCal, planted tall fescue in late October and added fertilizer then. 85% is growing beautifully, but the other 15% didn't grow much. Should I be adding anything right now? So the fact that you got 85% germination is really, really good. The thing I would tell you is to know you should be applying anything to your lawn. And again, I know I hate to hit a drum like everyone else, but all the regulars know what's coming. But if you've not done like a soil test, if you've not gotten one of these guys and figured out like what's going on with your soil health, that's something that I would do, because honestly, I'm not gonna be able to tell you what fertilizer, what products I would recommend adding to your lawn without knowing like what deficiencies it has. The fact that you got 85% germination or 85% is doing really well, that's a good sign. The 15%, assuming all things being equal, so let's say if the 15% is like in an area where it's getting not as much sunlight, so if there's a shade issue, that could be potentially slowing you down. If that's not the case, so it's not, there's not shade problem. Let me see, there's not like an issue where that area has maybe there's like a more, whenever it rains, there's a lot more runoff in that area to where it gets like a lot more wear. The next thing I'm going to say is a soil test, because outside of sunlight and mowing, you got, the soil's got to be really healthy. So get a soil test if you've not done one yet. The one I like is the one from My Soil. They're super easy to use. You get your results. If you got one, say you got one Monday, or you ordered one, you got one, and you did your test on Monday and sent it out, you'll have your results in like a week. Maybe a little faster because you're also on the West Coast. So that would be my recommendation. And then again, once you get a soil test done, hit me up or get on the live stream or email me, and I'll be happy to go through your results with you. Like email me here, ron@golfcourselawn.com. And if you need to get a soil test, you can get one there. But send me, it's super helpful whenever someone asks me like what they should be applying to their lawn, especially someone like you where your lawn is still actively growing and you're really trying to make moves as far as getting new grass to take off. Like having a soil test is super helpful, because then I can look at, it's like it's kind of like cheating, right? It's like the answers to the test. Like I can look at it and be like, okay, you're missing this, 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 and this, and this is the product that I would recommend. These are the things I think you should do in what order. And it's going to be a lot more useful for you. And ultimately, given the fact that they only cost $30, it's going to save you a lot of money and frustration by not wasting your time by applying the wrong products to your lawn. Great question. Congrats again on getting the 85% germination, man. That's actually really good. I wish my Arden 15 had done that well. Let's see. Bermuda Brian says he dropped his mower off today for grinding. Guy said machine has never been sharpened. Oh wow, that's not good. Yeah, definitely with a real mower, you want to keep them sharp. That's the one thing with them. I mean, they are they're awesome machines. They do a great job cutting, but they are, they're kind of like prima donna as far as lawn equipment. You gotta keep them in great shape. Like my Greensmaster, I miss it. It's let me see. Today's Friday. Yesterday was 1 week since it's been gone. Off at the fine folks at Jerry Pate getting it tuned up. So hopefully here in the next week or so, I should hopefully get a call from them saying they're going to bring it back to me. Looking forward to that. And but yeah, man, you're doing the right thing, Brian, by making sure your mower is all tuned up. The one thing I will say is if you're planning to scalp your lawn, you got Bermuda. If you're planning to scalp your lawn, here's the thing. Got good news and bad news. If you don't have a rotary, I'm not sure if you're the one that mentioned to me last week or asked last week about keeping a rotary. If you have a rotary around, like use that for scalping, because if you take your fresh reel mower, your Allett, you take it out and scalp the lawn with it, you really have to take it in to get it sharpened up again. So just something to keep in mind when spring rolls around. So a question here from D says, do you recommend soil amendments like soil conditioner or humic acids now? So D, it's a great question. It depends on where you are. So if you like the guys like that are in Southern California, absolutely. Like they've got 80-degree weather, their turf grass is growing actively. There's no reason to not continue treating the lawn like you would if it were like you would in the summertime here in Georgia. So just so as long as the grass is actively growing, make sure it gets the amount of nitrogen it needs and it's getting everything that it needs to do well. As far as soil amendments, so things like carbon or and the question you asked about humic acid, there's no negative to applying those products. The only negative I'd say is that depending on the product you're using, if the product has a component that is designed to be absorbed foliarly, so through the leaf of the plant, and your lawn is dormant, you're just not going to get as much benefit out of it. But even any of the liquid soil amendments, like CarbonPro L, like if you look at Lesco's website, you read about it. They tell you that it's designed to be watered in, which it is, but because most of what it does it needs to get into the turf to begin working. But like that iron really is taken up by the plant, by the actively growing grass. So it depends on the answer to your question, D, is it depends. You can, if you even when the grass is dormant, you can absolutely put it down now if you want, but you'll get more benefit out of it, out of the liquid ones anyway, if you apply them when the lawn is actively growing. If you're dealing with a granular like CarbonPro G or like Humichar or one of those, You can apply those year round. The only really negative about those is just it's limited by your budget, by your pocketbook, right? So CarbonPro G I've been applying every month since July, and with Humichar I imagine it's much the same. The only restriction I would say with any of those, whether it be a granular or a liquid, is you would not apply them if the ground is frozen. So if you were in a part of the country, like if you're like up north in like Indiana or Chicago or someplace where it's like frozen, there's just snow on the ground, then obviously like that it wouldn't be a good idea to apply anything to your lawn because it's just going to run off and end up in the sewers and places that we really don't want this stuff going. But if you're dealing with just cold weather, like say you're in Georgia, then yeah, you absolutely can. No issues at all. Great question. Great question, sir. Let's see. Princess says, reminds us, my reel needs grinding really, really bad. Yeah, you definitely want to keep it sharp, man, because reel mowers do a good job cutting the grass, but like if you are using a dull reel, it's not quite as bad as a dull rotary mower, but it's there. It's gonna start tearing the grass, which is gonna make it a lot more easy for lawn disease, fungus, all kinds of nasty things to happen. And it just doesn't cut as good, which is a great reason to not do it. Like you'll get yellowing after every mow, which is what we don't want, right? Cheryl with the super chat.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, coming to the live stream and taking on the challenge to take care of your lawn yourself. Cheryl's story is interesting. This past season, Cheryl, I'm going to brag on you a little bit. She decided she wanted to start working on her lawn. So she got a true cut, started mowing her zoysia. She got a Chapin backpack sprayer, got T-neck. She just went full tilt and just started taking care of her lawn herself. And the lawn started looking really, really, really nice. So I think next season is going to be even more awesome for you. Now that you kind of got your lawn legs, we'll call it your lawn legs, like say your sea legs, you have your lawn legs. You kind of have a system now. You know how to run the backpack sprayer. You know how to run the mower. You know how to take care of the weeds. Although we're still fighting nutsedge a little bit, but you're getting into the swing of things. So next year is going to be even better, or this year is going to be even better now that you're more on board of what's going on. So it's cool, very, very cool stuff. Super TA has a question about glyphosate. Ugh, Roundup, nasty stuff. Will glyphosate work this time of year, killing what I believe is clumpy turf type fescue mixed in my small area of zoysia grass? I only notice it in the winter because zoysia is dormant. If it's growing actively, you can super TA. You definitely want to make sure, absolutely make sure the zoysia is dormant. I am scared of putting glyphosate on lawns, man. I mean, if you're 1,000% sure it's dormant, like you're really, really sure it's dormant, you can give it a shot. Well, here's what I would do. I would mix up like a lower rate, like a maybe go half rate and just spot spray like just one small area and see how the fescue reacts to it. Because like zoysia is unlike Bermuda. Like zoysia is like if you hurt it, if it's still growing in any capacity, you're gonna have patches in your lawn, this next coming season. So I would I'd be very, very, very careful with putting glyphosate on your lawn, even though you think it's dormant. So I just say that because I know someone, like my neighbor did that. He used glyphosate on his lawn during the winter time to kill off, spray out little patches of crabgrass and other the green stuff is in his lawn now when it's dormant. And when spring rolled around, he had a lot of problems with his Bermuda. And Bermuda, it's hard to hurt Bermuda. And he had like an entire season where there was parts of his lawn that were patchy and thin. So that's what, based on seeing that and knowing how aggressive Bermuda is and that it takes a lot to really cause that to happen, it makes me really leery about anyone putting glyphosate on anything they don't want permanently dead. So if you're going to spot spray with it, try that, but I would not blanket spray at all. Just be really, really careful. Just I don't want you to hurt your grass. So I know it's not the answer you wanted, but I also don't want spring to roll around and you hate me because your lawn is hurting. Let's see here. Windchair says, Ron, irrigation question. Do you have heads at the bottom of the hill in the front? And do they have check valves? I don't know if they have check valves. That's a great question. Do I have heads at the bottom of the hill? Yes. So if you are looking at my front lawn from the street, like where the mailbox and the vanity strip 2.0 is, like the vanity strip that's not the one I hardly ever show on video because I'm not as proud of it. And where the two trees are, like there are sprinkler heads on each of those corners that shoot into the lawn. They fire into like the slope. And at the top of the lawn, the slope, there are sprinklers that obviously fire in that way. So yeah, so I have water hits my lawn from both the bottom and the top. I don't know if there are check valves in. That's a good question. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, the system works pretty well. I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had any issues with freezing or damaged pipes or actually that's not true. I haven't had any issues with freezing, but I did have an issue where I had an issue where I had a leak along the street. Due to, I don't know if they just didn't do a good job installing or whatever, but that's the only problem I've had with my irrigation system really is there's one pipe that where a joint came together. I think it just wasn't done right, and I had a water leak that we had to dig up and get fixed. But yeah, outside of that, it's worked really, really well. All right, Donnell Burnell says, "What up, Ron? Happy New Year and congratulations to Alabama, the national roll tide." You know what? I tell you what, this past Monday, I was an Alabama fan because you know what? Even though they are not the Georgia Bulldogs, let's face it, I mean, they're not the dogs, right? They are the SEC. So you gotta, it's like, I'd much rather see them win than Ohio State for sure. So I'm glad. I mean, it was really a one-sided game. So yeah, congratulations, all you Roll Tide, all you Alabama fans. You'll hear it tonight. Congratulations, all Alabama. Roll Tide. I say it one time. It's the only time it's going to happen this year. So at least you guys got the job done for the SEC. Let's see what other questions we have here. So Miles LB says, "Hey, Ron, I got my first soil test for my zoysia lawn here in Northeast Georgia. Of course, there are going to be some amendments needed. Is it fine for me to go ahead and start that this winter?" Great question. And you said you're in Northeast Georgia, so you're in my area. So it depends on what it says, Miles. The things that I am a huge fan of fixing now are things like soil pH. So if you get your soil test results back and your soil pH is high or it's low, like on the My Soil test, like whenever you pull it up on the website, in the lower, I'm trying to visualize it, in the lower left-hand corner, there'll be recommendations for different products and on the type of lime or sulfate you should be using on your lawn. And I would absolutely start that now. Like with my lawn, my pH wasn't necessarily outside of like the Goldilocks zone, but it was trending in the wrong direction. So in September, it was like the mid sixes, which was perfect. And then in December, when I checked it, it was like in the low sixes. So I'm just assuming that, if I hadn't done anything, when springtime rolls around, I could have been like even lower sixes or probably in the high fives. So to kind of prevent that problem, I applied a lime in December. And if you guys are interested in seeing that, there's like a video, like just check out my channel. You'll see like a video that I did that's showing the entire process and breaking down how the soil test kit works and like how I arrived at that conclusion. But yes, as far as doing things like soil pH, you absolutely can fix those kinds of things now. You can also do if your phosphorus is low. So like when the turf is dormant, like phosphorus is good for encouraging strong roots. So if your turf is low on phosphorus, if your soil test says your phosphorus is low, you absolutely can do that now. Nitrogen, you can put it down, but I really wouldn't you're not going to get a whole lot of benefit out of it right now. I mean, you'll have it in the soil, you'll have it broken down whenever things warm up. The soil will be in a better condition, ready to go. But the thing that you can apply now that will see actual benefit to the grass, the turf, even though it's dormant, is phosphorus. But based on the soil test numbers, I would apply whatever my soil says. Because thing is in Georgia too, our winters are relatively mild here. As long as you are sure, like I know the ground's not frozen where you are, but as long as you just make your decision based on those numbers, based on what the deficiencies are, you should be absolutely fine. The one thing I'd say is phosphorus. That's something you're going to benefit from now if your lawn needs it. If you don't need it, don't put it down. But yeah. But hopefully that helps answer your question. I use soil testing as like a huge important tool for driving what I do in my lawn. So yeah, absolutely. Good on you for getting one. Your turf will be better for it, man. Great. So let's see what other questions we have here. Alan's in the house. Hey, Alan, thank you so much for stepping into the live stream. I appreciate it. Jeremy's talking about perfect segue to a giveaway tonight. I don't know. I was thinking about giving away 2 stickers tonight, 2 stripe action stickers. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Depending on how the live stream goes, we'll see. I might be able to do that. Thing is, the live stream's getting a little bigger, so it's becoming kind of a headache to do that because there's a number of people that I don't have to like type in and do the giveaway on. But I'm gonna have to come up with a new system here soon, eventually for that. But it's a good suggestion, Jeremy. Let's see. So Pez Guy talks about the Ortho product. I agree, Pez Guy. The Ortho product works pretty well. And actually, that's a good point. In right now, because Bermuda is going to be dormant, it's not going to discolor the grass. You can give the Ortho product a shot too. I just didn't like it because it while it works a little bit faster than Image, it tends to discolor the grass. Like it turns the entire all the lawn in that area gets like this nasty orange color. But yeah, right now, if the lawn's dormant, it's not going to really hurt anything. So yeah, give that a shot as well too if you want another option for dealing with nutsedge. Yeah. So Michael Harmer says, yeah, Bermuda is invasive to other people's lawns. Jeremy, I'm not going to say go that word. Jackets or whatever you just said. We're not gonna do that because yellow jackets are not really. They're really good at a lot of things, but football is just not one of them, unfortunately. I'm gonna get hate for that, but it's okay. Let's see. So Wind Chariot says, yeah. So he's got the 10 blade Allett. You're going for a point like less than a 1/4 inch height of cut, man. You're a stud, dude. That's a huge. That's a big undertaking. I'm gonna shoot for 1/2 inch. I'm gonna shoot for just at max 1/2 inch, maybe just a little under 1/2 inch this year. I'm gonna try and maintain that all year. Last year I ended up going up to 0.7, 0.75, but this year I'm going to go for 1/2 inch all year. That's my goal. But if you're going for under a 1/4 inch, man, you're going to be mowing a lot. So I guess you're planning on using plant growth regulator, and you're going to be mowing the lawn a whole lot. And at a 1/4 inch, you're going to need to be verticutting fairly regularly, Wind Chariot. So if you said you got the brush and the scarifier. But yeah, I guess the scarifier will help too. But anything you can do to thin out that turf, because it's going to get really, really dense. Probably every couple of weeks, every few weeks, you're going to want to be doing that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to know how it works out, man. Let me know how it goes. It's a pretty cool. That's a pretty cool a goal to have, a 1/4 inch on a home lawn. That's pretty awesome. Let's see. What are the questions we have here? We are 80 for the week. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Donnell says, Happy New Year. Hope all is well. Can I get a soil test done now, or is it? He did it again. You already said roll tide. There's no reason to keep putting that in the chat, but all right, it's gonna happen, I guess. Can I get a soil test done now, or wait till it's closer to spring? You can get one done now. You absolutely should get one done now. Like if you go right here, go to ron-henry.com/soil test, pick up a soil test kit from MySoil. I would also recommend getting one of these guys. So these are also money too. Autofocus is locked on and it's not coming out for me tonight. Yeah. So this tool is awesome for getting samples really easily. If you look on my channel, if you just go look up Ron Henry YouTube and soil test, you'll see me actually using one of these. They're awesome for getting samples. I mean, they don't mess up the lawn. They don't make a huge mess. And it's really easy for getting samples to certain areas. So what I would say is get these, which you'll have to buy these, every time you want to do a soil test, but this guy's like a one-time purchase, and it's a great investment. So definitely get this. As far as soil testing, Donnell, if you are really, really serious, every 3 months is what I would do, because that's going to get you really, really good trend data as far as how the soil is moving, like how levels are moving around. So every 3 months is fine. There's really no limit to, there's no temperature restriction around soil testing. There can be temperature or environmental restrictions around amending what the soil test says, but like getting the information to know what you need to do, you can do that. You can do that at any time. So yeah, absolutely, I would get one done now, and I'm sure you're just enjoying that because Alabama's been all up on the screen for several minutes now, which is hurting my heart. But you asked a good question, so I had to answer it. Let's see what other questions we have here. So Elvio Alvarez, he says, I'm in SoCal. A lot of SoCal tonight, a lot of California people tonight. I guess you guys are, you know what it is, because the weather is still nice there. You guys are one of the few people in the country who actually has weather. It's real nice to still have a nice lawn. You in Florida. But great. It says, I planted tall fescue and Kentucky bluegrass on December 7th. It's looking good. But I'm concerned as to when I should apply pre-emergent in the spring coming soon. Any advice? Okay, so if you're doing fescue or Kentucky bluegrass, we're not going to do any pre-emergent for. So here's the problem. Pre-emergent is going to on those grass types can stunt root growth. I always have trouble saying those two words to get a root growth. So really, most if you look at the labels of most common pre-emergents, they'll say 6 months. Like, don't put anything down. Like, you put like sod down, or if you do, in your case, you just planted that grass type. It says to wait. Typically, it's going to be like 6 months is a general guidance. The issue is at 6 months, so we are December 7th, so 6 months is going to put you into May-ish. That's going to be kind of late for pre-emergent, right? So by then, any weeds that are going to be coming out in the spring are going to be here. What I would tell you is this: I would surrender weeds this spring. So your turf has the best chance of establishing and doing well. That is what I would do. If it were me, I would not put down pre-emergent during the typical time, which would be, March-ish or so. So what I would do is, if you want, wait till June. You can wait till May, June, and do it then. But again, anything that's around, any weeds that were going to come out are more than likely going to be already out by then. But you could certainly put it down in late May, early June, and then what that's going to allow you to do is you can delay your fall pre-emergent some, LVO. So when it comes to, in my case, where I'd be putting down my fall pre-emergent in September. In your case, if you did it in May, June, you can wait till October or so to put down your fall pre-emergent, because you're probably still getting some effectiveness out of the later application. But if it were me, I would not want to take the chance of damaging your seeding project just at hopes of keeping some weeds away. I would surrender having a few more weeds to make sure that your grass gets more established. That is what I would do. So hopefully that helps. But congrats on the new lawn. Hopefully it's coming in well. And if you don't put pre-emergent down, it should continue to do well. I wouldn't do that quite just yet. Let's see. So Matt DeGoyer says, I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I start my lawn care March 1st every year. When do you get your gig started? Around the same time, Matt. So in March is when, again, depending on soil temps, is when I'll start getting out there and start putting something down the lawn. So if the itch bites me too hard, I'll probably put down like some Milo. Because here's the thing: I still have enough Milorganite for like one full application on my lawn. It's been sitting in there for 9 months now. So that's probably what I'll put down in early March. And then when April hits, that's when I'll go to the heavy stuff. I'll bring out the heavy artillery. I'll get my Lebanon turf stuff out, and I'll be putting that stuff down. But March is when it's going to start. Is when I would start doing it. Late March, early April is when if you were going to do pre-emergent, March 1st. Again, if you're in my area, would be the time to do it. But really, with pre-emergent, it's less a date thing and more of a soil temperature thing. So if in Utah soil temps get to be 50 degrees in March 1st, which I don't imagine they'd be that warm yet, but if they did, that is when you could put down a pre-emergent. But for me, just to answer your question, March 1st, end of February, early March is when I start getting out there, messing around the lawn, start driving people crazy. If I get like the first little bit of green grass is when the mower's going to come out, and I might scalp. We'll see. It all depends on how the weather is and what we can expect, Matt. But what you're doing is around it sounds about right. Like early March, late February, early March is around the right time. Brooklyn Boy says, can I treat weeds in Bermuda now? You can, sir. You can. It depends on what kind of weeds you have and how many. If it's really worth doing it, because again, if Bermuda, when it wakes up and really takes off, the weeds are going to have a difficult time competing with it, assuming you're mowing it lower. But it depends on the weeds you're dealing with and how much. Like crabgrass is probably a thing you're dealing with now. So if you want to spray something for that, you can. If you want a good product for crabgrass, that's pretty easy. That's not going to be a huge hassle, a huge pain to put down. You guys already know what's coming out. You guys already know the people that are always in the live stream. This stuff. So the weed stop. You didn't tell me what kind of weeds you're dealing with, Brooklyn Boy, but I'm just going to assume crabgrass. But this takes care of almost 500 different types of weeds. Super easy to apply. You don't need a backpack sprayer to use it. And if you want to spot spray some weeds in your lawn, you could use this product. The only restriction is you want to, like, the one thing it does say is that you want temps to be not freezing. So if your temps are, high 40s, which I'm not sure, I didn't say where you are. I guess it says Brooklyn, but you might be in Brooklyn. But if your temps are in the high 40s, you could use that, and you should be just fine. But otherwise, man, I might just wait. Unless you're dealing with a serious, like, weed outbreak, I might just wait until spring and deal with it then, to be completely honest. Because when they're growing more aggressively, they're also easier to kill, because when you put like a herbicide down on them, when a plant or a weed is actively growing, any herbicide that you put on that's absorbed foliarly is going to be, the plant's like trying to really take in nutrients, and you put this stuff on, it's going to suck it up, and it's going to be, again, it's going to be a lot more effective. So just something to also consider too. Helmet Ruckus, thank you so much for the super chat, sir. I appreciate
Super chat received.
I appreciate the support. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, supporting the live stream. I appreciate it. So let's see what other questions we have here. Good evening, Chaz. Thanks for stopping in tonight. And D has a follow-up question. He says, "Thank you, Ron. You're very welcome, sir." Says, "Do you recommend killing the yard and starting over? You have different types of grass. I have mainly Bermuda, but have overseeding the past 2 years with TIF, the tongue twister, the tall fescue. I can never say those three words together because I'm sure you guys get some enjoyment out of it watching me get the tongue twister, but I can never say turf type tall. I did it. Turf type tall fescue. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. So it depends, man. If you have Bermuda and you're trying to get turf type tall fescue, I'm getting better. Yes, spraying out the Bermuda is probably going to be something I would do, because Bermuda is so aggressive. Bermuda is so aggressive that the turf type tall fescue is going to have a difficult time when temperatures get warmer. So in that situation, yeah, spraying whenever the Bermuda is growing. Right now, don't bother doing it because it's dormant right now. But when it wakes up, you can glyphosate the entire lawn. You're probably gonna need a couple of applications. So you could do one application, wait like 2 to 3 weeks, and then do a follow up to get the stragglers, and then rake out the Bermuda, like pull out what's in there, and then do go through your full prep. Do a soil test, make sure the soil is in as great shape as possible. And then you can do your overseeding with turf type tall fescue. That's probably going to yield a better result than trying to overseed the Bermuda with a turf type tall fescue, because Bermuda is way more aggressive than fescue is. And given time, Bermuda is probably going to win that fight. So in your situation, yes. So given what you're trying to do, what it sounds like you're trying to do, I would do that. So great question. And let me know if I can help with anything else. You have my email address. If not, drop me an email there, and I will help you out as best I can. All right, so good. This is a good question. So Helmet says he has a 6-blade regular. I want to go lower. That's why I got the 10. Yes, top dressing with sand and brushing will work. Can't wait to get to it and immediately scarify. Nice, pretty awesome, man. I want to see that. Here's what you need to do, man. So Helmet, with everything you're doing, it is your job to start a YouTube channel now and at least document it. You have to do a bunch of content, but at least let us know. We can see how this all works out. Inquiring minds want to know. You can't just let us know you can't just tell us everything you can do and not show it. You got to show us. And so follow-up question here. So Lon to Learn says, should we water sod in the nighttime? Great question. So as far as watering goes, irrigation goes, I run my irrigation at 4 a.m. That is the time when I do it. You'll get different schools of thought. Some people say that's too early. Some people say it's fine. What I would not do is I would not run irrigation, at say 7 p.m. and let that water sit on the lawn, the turf all night. Depending on how heavily you're watering, it can contribute to issues with fungus. Here's the thing: overwatering, like watering your lawn at night, is not going to cause you to get lawn fungus. But if lawn fungus was already there, like if it's introduced to the lawn somehow, by watering at night and letting that water sit in the turf for several hours, you're creating conditions that are amenable, that are beneficial for lawn fungus. So for me, what I do it at 4 a.m. because that gives it plenty of time when the wind tends to be lowest, and gives it plenty of time for it to soak into the turf. So when the sun comes up, I'm not going to have to deal with the wind blowing the water to let me get more out of the irrigation system. But it's not so early that if I were to have a fungus issue, that I'm creating conditions that would accelerate that. So hopefully that helps answer your question. Launch Learn, it's a great question. But if you want my advice, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is what I would go for. Okay, so Jason B has a question about seeding. He says, is it worth spending money for seed for dormant seeding? Is it worth spending money for seed for dormant seeding? I'm not sure if I understand the question, Jason, so I'll answer it a couple different ways. If is it worth spending money on seed for dormant seeding? If you're trying to seed now, depending on what you're trying to put down, like Bermuda now, it'd be pointless. Like if you're trying to get Bermuda to grow now in Georgia, it's not going to happen. Like you need temperatures, you need soil temperatures consistently, keyword consistently, at 65 degrees or higher for Bermuda to really do well. And given how expensive like good Bermuda grass seed is, you really want to wait to do that. But if you can, give me a little more context around the question so I can know what you're after, Jason. I've never overseeded my lawn with any kind of cool season grass as far as a rye or anything like those, but I think those, even now, it's probably still a little bit too cold for those. Typically, most people that tend to overseed for green lawns year round, they tend to do that in the fall. My answer in a nutshell, without having more context, is it's probably not a good idea to do that now, Jason. I would wait until temps get a little bit warmer, especially if you're talking about Bermuda grass seed. It needs to be 65 degrees or higher for it to really work well. Wise Guy has a question. He says, how long does it take for NPK to get through the soil before reapplying? I did a soil test and the NPK was okay, but not optimal. Fall soil test revealed lower amounts of NPK. I applied NPK every 4 weeks. Okay, great question. So the answer to your question is it depends. Here's what I would expect. I would expect that if you applied, if you're dealing, assuming you're dealing with you're not necessarily a clay soil, but a soil that is amenable for taking up the nutrients. If you applied NPK in January and you test it again, say a month later in February, I would expect to see movement, because that should be enough time, assuming there's been enough rain and temperature to help break them down and get them into the turf, that you should see that reflected in the new soil test results. What I would say is just test every 3 months. If you're saying you're applying NPK and you're doing it every 4 weeks, but the numbers still kept going, the trend kept going down, then that could mean you're probably not applying enough. So that's kind of what that points to me. If the data, in other words, if you're saying your numbers are still decent, but you're applying monthly, but the numbers are still trending down, and you're certain you're testing properly, like you're using a probe, like one of these, you're using a good probe, and you're getting samples from different parts of the lawn, and you're pretty confident about your testing process, then you're not applying enough NPK to in other words, the soil is being consumed by your lawn faster than you're replenishing it. So the short answer to your question is I would expect to see movement in 4 weeks, in a month or so, Wise Guy. But I wouldn't get into testing your lawn every month. I mean, I think every 3 months is a good number. That's a good balance between not spending too much money on soil test kits and also not driving yourself crazy by too much data, paralysis by analysis. I think if I looked at a soil test of my lawn every single month, it would probably be counterproductive versus every 3 months, where I can actually see the trends over that time. So hopefully that helps answer your question. A month is what I would expect to start making changes, but test every 3, and that's when you should see a shift at that point. Wise Guy, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it.
Super chat received.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate that, sir. And let's see what our next question is. So from Lee Farmer, he says, "Hey Ron, I applied 50 pounds of lime on 1,200 square feet on the front lawn due to low pH. 1,200, okay. That's a little bit heavy, but okay. Should I wet it in or let nature absorb it in the soil? No, you're going to want to water that in. You definitely want to water. You're going to want to water the lime in for sure. So yes, Lee, the answer to your question is water it in, because it's gotta, you want to get it down, you want to get to break down, but you want to get it in the soil so it can begin working, so yeah, absolutely. You absolutely want to water that in. So good. It's good that you did a soil test. It's good that based on that, you're correcting it. So great job. But yeah, you absolutely want to water that product in so you can start seeing benefit from it. So we have a question here from Amy. Amy C is chiming in. She says, Any suggestion on what grass seed? Let me start over. Any suggestion on what grass seed to use on the side of my house with pines and just morning sun? The rest of my lawn is Bermuda, but it won't grow on that side. So, Amy, you're not going to like the answer to my question, unfortunately. Bermuda needs 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight to do well. That's just the long and short of it. Like all grass needs sunlight, but Bermuda especially needs a lot of direct sunlight. So direct sunlight, let's define direct sunlight. Direct sunlight means like not coming through any trees. It means like if you guys saw like my video from like last week, I guess when I was trimming those shrubs, even like just having some shrubs, like if the sun is just passing through that's blocking enough sunlight that doesn't really count as direct sunlight. And just even something as small as a shrub can materially affect how well Bermuda grows. Like if you don't believe it, like check out some of my videos. I think it's video 7. If you look at the video series I did on dormancy on TIFWay 419 versus RN15 dormancy, check out video 7, episode 7 of that, where I actually show you a section of my lawn that actually starts getting thin, starts getting it just starts thinning out. And it's just due to just some small shrubs, little 5-foot shrubs blocking enough sunlight that area gets thin. So the short answer to your question is, you're probably not going to get the Bermuda. If you can get it to grow, it's not going to do well without a lot of sunlight. Anything you can do to improve that. So you said you've got pines. If we can raise the canopy, so I'm not sure how low the pines are growing. If we can raise the canopy up to where we're just letting more sunlight get there, that's going to help. Obviously you could remove the pine trees. That would really help too, but that's kind of an extreme measure. You're probably not going to want to do that. But anything you can do to help get more sunlight on the lawn is going to help a lot. Because really when it comes to like growing really good turf grass, like there's the Triforce, right? For you guys who are like Legend of Zelda fans, there's 3 things you absolutely got to get right. You have to have good soil. You have to mow the lawn like all the time, like you're supposed to, like mow regularly, and you got to have sunlight. So sun, soil, and then practices your practices. And really, sunlight is probably the most important out of those 3, because even if you have like awesome soil, like all the parameters are perfect and beautiful, without sunlight, that's the engine that powers the plant to grow, really. So. My advice is going to be do anything you can to thin out those trees so you can get more sunlight on the turf. Because don't waste your time going to Home Depot. Don't waste your time trying to get any of like the shade tolerant grass types or the shade. I mean, you can try them, but they're not going to work. Especially Bermuda. Bermuda needs a lot of sunlight. Other like cool season grasses will do a little bit better, but I mean, we're talking 5 to 6 hours of direct sunlight versus 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight. So at any rate, all grass needs sunlight to do well. So. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for you, but hopefully this guidance gives you some things to think about that you can do to help improve your lawn, because it sounds like what you're dealing with primarily is a shade issue. And I don't want you to go out and spend a bunch of money on a grass seed and not get a good result. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Brooklyn Boy says, should I get a soil sample done yearly? At least annually. If you're going to do a soil test only once a year, if you only do one once a year, I would say early March, like late February, early March is when I would do it. If you're really going to spring for one once a year, which again, given that these only cost like $30, and the amount of information that you get, like the ability to make really good decisions to make your turf become awesome that you get out of these, like doing them quarterly is better. So every 3 months is what I'd really recommend. But if you're only going to do it once a year, March, like around now is when you would get one, or next month, and get one then, and get the test done so that you can get the data, so that when you're putting the products down to kind of get your lawn to wake up and do well this spring and summer, you've got the information to do it. So at a minimum, Brooklyn Boy, once per year. Early spring is when I would do it. Best, if you want to get the best possible result, quarterly. Do one quarterly, and that's going to give you the give you information to know what's really going on. Jeremy has all kinds of hate speech about football. I'm not gonna participate in that. I'm just not gonna do it, Jeremy. I'm not doing it. I'll have it up on the screen here while I look for the next question, but I'm just not gonna even talk about Georgia Tech and football and good football in the same sentence. Bermuda Brian, thank you so much for chiming in, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming in and stepping in. Oh, so Andrew Case from Hawaii says, Andrew Tracy says, aloha from Hawaii. Aloha. He says, Ron, can you recommend a lime product? My pH is too low for being in Hawaii, and it's hard to get some products shipped for a reasonable price. Not sure if that matters, but I have Zoysia lawn cut at 5/8 of an inch. Great question. So as far as a good lime, I think I've got one here. Let me get this. It's the one I really like now is the one that Yard Mastery makes. It's a calcitic. Let me see if I can find it here. I think I have it here. Here we go. Back up. Yep. Yeah, it's one from Yard Mastery. It's from Jonathan. It's from Jonathan Green, I think, is who makes it. Let's see here. Let me see if I can get, yeah, this guy right here. Let me make sure I'm giving you the right link and check it. And yeah, so this one right here, if you check in the chat now, Andrew, this is the one that I would go with. I'm not sure if you can get that to Hawaii. You should be able to. I mean, but you know that's a great product. There are also some other lime, like Pennington makes a fast acting lime. But the one I just linked there from Yard Mastery, that Magical, that's a really good product that you can put down. I think it covers 5,000 square feet. I want to say so. I think looking at it, I believe so. Yeah. So one 18-pound bag covers 5,000 square feet. So and I should put it up on the screen so you guys can check it out if you want. But yeah, that is a good product for as far as raising your soil pH. This guy right here. That's what I would this is what I would go with. That one. All right. So hopefully that helps. Yes, you absolutely can fix that now, and I would, because soil pH is like literally one of the most important things. Like as far as things you need, the order of importance in your lawn, like soil pH, and then the macronutrients, and then like the lesser main nutrients, macros, and then the micros. Right. So soil pH, the fact that you're looking into that is important, and I would absolutely put a good lime down and take care of it. So great, good on you. And that product from Jonathan Green that Yard Mastery carries is a really good one. Very good one. So let's see, what other questions do we have here? We have a question on scalping. Okay, man. So people are trying to get serious. This is, when is the best time for your first scalp for TIF Tough for TIF 419? Great question. I'm a little north of you in North Carolina. So as soon as you start seeing the green fuzz, that's what I like to call it, the little green fuzz. When you look on your lawn, you know, and you go out one morning and you look and there's patches of green here and there throughout the lawn, meaning like Bermuda's starting to wake up. That is a good time to consider scalping. Yeah, I mean, really, what scalping is buying you is a faster green up. So, like the research, the studies that I've looked at say that if you scalp your lawn at the right time, you tend to get your lawn greener 2 to 3 weeks faster than if you didn't scalp. But the time to do it is I'm not going to say, I can't give you like a month time period. Typically, mid to late March is when you can usually pull it off and be fine. But really just look at your lawn. As soon as you start seeing some little green patches starting to come in with a TIF way, that's go time. That's Bermuda saying, hey, I need some help here. Get rid of some of this old dead growth so we can get going. That's the time to do it. So yeah, so just look at your lawn. When you start seeing some green on it, that's the time to go out and scalp. So great question, man. I mean, you're probably still a little early. I wouldn't do it quite yet. But yeah. Let's see, JG, great question. This is a good question. Ron, is there a rule to go by as far as when to change edger blades? That is a good question. I need to actually do a video on that. So with an edger blade, I don't have one here, but the squared off ones, whenever the blade uses, you can almost look like, what can I use as an example? Let's use my cell phone. So let's say this my cell phone is an edger blade. It's not a great example of one, but this is an edger blade, right? What you find is as you use it more and more, this edge, like this edge here, instead of it being square and blunt, which actually does a lot of the cutting, it's going to get more rounded. When that starts to happen, that is when I would change them out. They're not that expensive, and when that blade gets more rounded, two things you'll start noticing. Instead of it doing a good job of giving you a really clean cut, like that really nice pristine edge, it's still going to edge it, but you're going to start getting more of a tearing type look. Almost like whenever you cut the grass with a dull mower, you're going to have the same appearance whenever you edge. So using whenever that edge stops being, whenever that edger stops being squared, starts getting rounded off, that's when you know it's time to change it out. That's my guidance. And typically, if you're with good technique, with good technique, you can typically get an edger blade to last for on a home lawn a season, like a summer. You can typically get away with it. Depends on how you're doing it. If you are, so a tip on that, JG, is if you are, say this is your sidewalk, right? I'm sorry, I can do it this way. If this is your sidewalk, this is your sidewalk. If you are putting the blade blunt against the grass, so this is right here where I am, right here, this is the grass, so this is the sidewalk. If you're running it straight against it, straight up and down perpendicular, you're going to wear the blade out a lot sooner. What I tend to do is, again, this is the sidewalk, grass is here, is you want to cant the blade just slightly, just slightly away from it, to where it's slightly angled away from that squared off edge of the sidewalk of the hardscape, and it's going to make the blade last quite a bit longer, and it's not going to visually look different as far as like the edge not being straight perpendicular. That's a quick tip to make it last a little bit longer. But the big thing is, once it gets rounded, it's time to change it. Once it starts getting rounded off. So great question. That's a good question. I've not been asked that one before. I think I talk about that in my video on edging. I think I do. Obviously, you didn't watch it, but it's something good to talk about. But it's a great question. Let's see. Lawn Journey says, I am torn on what backpack sprayer to run. Oh, this is a great question. I like this. This is a good question. Definitely adding this one in the season. You have the Flow Zone, you have the Petra, and my 4 sons in the running. I think they're all good. Need to apply the microgreen and other stimulants. So I've not used the Petra. I've not used the My 4 Sons. I think My 4 Sons makes a pretty good one. Like I think I watched some reviews of some other YouTubers that have talked about the My 4 Sons, and they seem to like them. I will tell you that the Flow Zone is gangster. It's like it's an incredible bit of kit. So I have the Chapin, which is a good sprayer, and a lot of people give Chapin a lot of hard time, and y'all give it a lot of hate. But I think the Chapin is a decent sprayer, especially for someone just starting out. The Flow Zone, if you can spend a little bit more money, the Flow Zone is what I'd go with. Here's why. So as far as what you're able to, like how quickly you're able to put the products down. With the Chapin, you tend to have to walk a lot slower, have a much slower walking pace to be able to get to reach that 1 gallon per 1,000 square foot rate. So with the Chapin, with my testing, around 160 seconds at 40 psi is what's going to get you the 1 gallon down, based on my testing with my sprayer, which is like 2 years old. So yours might do a little bit better than mine. With the Flow Zone Typhoon 2, because I need to qualify that, because they make the Cyclone, which is the one. The Cyclone is okay, but I would not get that one. If you're going to get one, get the Typhoon 2. And the Typhoon 2 with the variable switch, the 70 psi and the 115 psi setting, allows you to put down to cover 1,000 square feet in like a minute and a half, 90 seconds. So I'm a huge fan of the Flow Zone. I have not tried the other two, so I can't really comment on those, but the Flow Zone is an amazing sprayer. It's really, really well built. Like all the fittings and everything, just really industrial gear. Like you're never gonna have to buy another one. But yeah, so if spending $300 on a sprayer is not a big deal to you, then the Flow Zone is probably what I would go with. If you're gonna get one, I will put a link here, shameless plug, to Amazon. That is where, so that's my link to it on Amazon. And if you're gonna get one, get just the switch one. They make one that's a variable, like has a potentiometer, or a variable rate one. I wouldn't get that one for a couple of reasons. One, it's a lot more expensive on Amazon anyway, something like $100 more. It's a lot more money. And really, if for what you're trying to do with it, like which is applying lawn care products, you want to know that your walking rate, like you want to know how long it's taken that sprayer to put down a gallon of product. So I guess what I'm saying is that what you'd end up doing is you're going to end up probably at the full rate all the time anyway for what you're trying to do. So I wouldn't spend the extra money on the potentiometer one. Plus it's something else to break. Like a switch is less likely to go funky than like a potentiometer. So, but great. I mean, you're not going to be sad with any of them, but for my vote, my vote would be the Flow Zone. So hopefully that helps, Lawn Journeys. Let me know what you end up going with. Let's see here. So a question from Chris Hain. He says, Dallas City put down Dormant Bermuda Sod recently. Will that even work? Yes, it will. This was after a sidewalk rip out. They took out a lot of grass. We have low 30s and 40s. Yep. But Chris, whenever, once the temperatures get warm, that Bermuda is going to wake up and it's going to take off. Like my lawn was sodded in the wintertime. It was sodded in December, and you see how it looks now. I mean, the following spring, it did just fine. So Bermuda is a very, very, very hardy grass type. It's dormant now, but it's absolutely going to take off once temperatures pick up. So yeah, don't worry. Lawn Tiller says, "Did you kidnap the lawn care nut? I haven't seen him since your stream. LOL." No, he's probably just busy, man. I know Alan got that new warehouse. He got that new warehouse that I think he's working on. So he's probably busy with that. He's probably out filming content. The fact that he's quiet, don't think he's not working. I'm sure the fact that he's quiet probably means he's working on something epic, and he's just not, he's not taking any time out to talk to us right now. That's probably what's really going on, right? Let's see. Gary Gale has a question about Milorganite. He says, Ron, do you think it's a good idea to put down Milorganite fertilizer? Yeah, I mean, Milorganite's a good fertilizer, man. So it's not. I don't have any negatives about Milo. For me, the only detractor about Milo is that because of Alan, this is largely his fault, because it became so popular due to a lot of him talking about it and a lot of other YouTubers talking about it, is it's gotten expensive. Like around here, a bag of Milo is almost $17. So and it doesn't go that far, right? So if you are, I think for someone that is just starting out, getting into the lawn care, Milo is a great fertilizer because you're not going to damage your lawn. You're going to get a good result with it. But as far as it being like the best, the end all be all of fertilizers, no, I disagree with that. So, but I still have some in my garage, and there's probably some that's going to go down on my lawn in early spring, so I got to get rid of it. So yeah, hopefully that helps answer your question. It's a good fertilizer for what it is. It's a great organic fertilizer. But there are other fertilizers like the ones from Lebanon Turf that are excellent. Granted, they cost a little bit more, but they're excellent products that have a whole lot more things in them. It's a whole different league of fertilizer than Milo. But yeah, to answer your question, Milo's a great fertilizer. When springtime rolls around, late March rolls around, early April rolls around, by all means you can throw it down if that's what you're trying to go with. It's a good product. You're gonna get good results with it. Let's see what other questions we have here. So Amy C, so kind of chiming in. Other people are kind of following up with that, saying your zoysia needs about 4 hours of partial sunlight, might work there. Yeah, so you can try it, Amy, but again, just with any grass type, sun is really, really important. Like you gotta have the sunlight. Let's see. So Richard Vandeveer says, TIF 419 sod now on Arden 15. How long will overseeding take to dominate? Great question. The answer is it depends, Richard. Depending on how good a job you do with the seeding. So if you thin out the existing grass, if you do something to kind of suppress the growth of the existing grass, like that's going to factor in the health of your soil, like the health of the turf, like how healthy is the soil that you're putting the grass into. And then probably the biggest reason why people's overseeding projects, especially when it comes to Bermuda, do not do well is lack of watering. So when you go into this saying that you're going to overseed Tifway 419 with Arden 15, realize that what you're committing to is a minimum of 2 weeks, really more like 3 weeks of watering your lawn twice a day, because you can't allow the seed to dry out. So you're talking, depending on the size of your lawn, that's going to be a pretty hefty water bill for that month. So outside of the lawn, the soil being where it needs to be, and you doing it at the right time of year, like the soil temps being above 65 degrees, like lack of water is one of the biggest things that causes people's overseeding projects to not go well. So make sure you're going to put enough water down if you decide to do it. What you're doing is exactly what I'm planning to do. Like in my case, so the Arden 15 did really, really well on some parts of my lawn, and it didn't do so well in other parts of my lawn. And the areas near the patio, it really took off. It greened up really well. There's still some areas in my lawn where there's still a little bit of light green, and that's the Arden. So it can do very well depending on how good a job you do. So hopefully that helps answer your question. A lot of it is prep and making sure the conditions are right. 65 degrees, average soil temps or higher. That's what you want if you're going to do Arden 15. Let's see. Jeremy says, are you drinking coconut water or lemonade? I am drinking lemonade. Drinking lemonade. Lemonade and water. Lemonade and a water mix. I can't drink just straight lemonade. It's too sweet. But I mix it like half and half water, half lemonade, and drink it. So it's kind of diluted a little bit. Let's see. So we have a question here from Gary. Follow up. He says, Ron, do you think it's a good idea to put some Milorganite fertilizer on my Celebration Bermuda? It's like 85% green. I say in Florida, yeah, dude. As long as that Bermuda is still green and still growing, I would still be feeding it. Absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you are. Let me see. So it's January. So if it's still 85% green in Florida, your Celebration is probably not going to go fully dormant. Because I mean, by now it should be. By now it should be dormant if it's going to go dormant. So yeah, putting down some Milo, I think it's a great idea. Assuming, I mean, I don't know what your temperatures are. The thing with Milo is you need soil temps to be above 50 degrees for it to really be, for the microbes to really break it down and before to begin releasing the turf. The fact that your Bermuda is still 85% green probably means that you've got that. You probably meet that like 50 degree soil temp requirement. So yeah, absolutely. I would go for that. That's a great option, man. And congratulations on having one Celebration Bermuda, beautiful grass. And then unlike all of us up here in Georgia having to deal with brown grass. So good, awesome that you still have green grass, man. That's pretty sweet. Let's see. And then Lawn Journey says, I've been told that soil testing in season can be problematic if you actively spoon feed NPK. Here's the thing. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put down like a fertilizer and then go out and then soil test that same afternoon, like get samples that same afternoon or even the next day. If you wait a week or two, you're probably fine. But again, because we're doing it every 3 weeks, and if you look at this with this probe, remember too, with this probe, we're not taking a sample from like an inch in the turf. Like this is a good 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches into the soil. So if you're testing every 3 months, even if you're spoon feeding, you should still see a movement in the trend. You should still see how the levels are moving over time. So I disagree that soil testing is not something you should do if you're spoon feeding monthly. I still think it has value. Just like I said, every 3 months should be just fine. Let's see. Moro says, what over air protection do you have? I picked up some 3M gels with safety glasses on. And I feel it prevents from having a good seal around the air. So a lot of times, a good question, Mauro, because like air protection, Air Pro is something that people obviously most often don't consider. Like they'll wear safety glasses, but what you got to realize is that if you're out in the lawn and you're using like gas powered equipment, most gas powered lawn equipment runs around 90 to 100 dB, somewhere in that space, and any continued exposure to sound levels over 70 decibels can begin to cause hearing damage. What I tend to use are just some inner ears. I will take my AirPods or like my ear monitors, and I'll wear those while mowing the lawn. They're not as good as using like what you're talking about, the 3M like the actual muffs. But they do knock down the levels enough that I think it probably brings the levels down towards hearing safe. Plus, the Greensmaster is actually a pretty quiet mower, so I'm probably fine in that area. But yeah, what you're using is probably good. Like the same. If I'm using the edger, what I'll do sometimes I'll break out the over ears. Like if you guys saw the video, actually that's a good question. The video that I did, the live stream I did where I was like trimming the shrubs, the over ears that I was wearing there are the muffs that I use whenever I'm doing competitive shooting. So whenever I'm doing like running a stage with my pistol, with my Glock, those are the over ears that I wear. But I typically don't wear those when I'm out in the lawn. Usually I just use some in-ear monitors, like kind of like something like this, because they kind of go in and they create a pretty good seal. And that's good because I can still listen to music or a podcast or something, and they bring the levels down. But great question. That's a great question because a lot of people do not consider that enough, that, your hearing is pretty important, and lawn equipment over time can damage it if you're not doing something to make sure you keep it at a good level. Okay, Richard says $300 for a sprayer is not that bad. For me, I just have to get it by my wife. We'll just talk to her. Here's the thing: the Flow Zone is probably going to be the last sprayer you're going to have to buy. I mean, as long as you take care of it, they're not. It is a commercial grade sprayer. Like, it's a really, really good unit. You're not going to have any. You're not going to have any issues with it. Like a lot of the things that cause problems in sprayers. Like the one negative I can say about the Chapin, which I still love my Chapin. It's still a great sprayer. I'm not gonna bash it. The one negative in the design of it is they put the battery right underneath the bottom of it, right? So if there's ever a leak, let's say if you're ever hosing off the sprayer of the outside, you get some product on the outside of the tank, like all that water literally runs down and can get into the electronics of the battery, which can cause issues with the battery shorting out, can cause problems. Like it's not the ideal place for the battery to be. Whereas with the Flow Zone, they have this hatch, which whenever I get around to doing a review, which I really need to do, there's like this weather sealed, silicone sealed hatch that you open, you put the battery in there, and then you close it, and then it's like watertight. So the small things like that makes your battery last longer, makes the electronics in the sprayer last longer, and it's a great product. So you know, just I would tell the wife, I would use my I would say, just say, hun, buy once, cry once. So I could buy a cheaper sprayer, but you know, a year from now, I might be buying another one, or 2 years from now, I might be buying another one. But if I get this Flow Zone, it's an investment, keyword investment, in having a nice lawn, and it's probably gonna be the last one we're gonna have to buy. So that's how I would sell it. And the thing is, it's the truth. It's a really, really good sprayer. Yeah, given that you're going to spend a lot of money on lawn care products and you want to get a really good result, having a quality sprayer is very important. So awesome. Lawn Journeys, you're very welcome. About the question about sprayers, yeah, variable sprayers, yeah, I'm not a fan of them. I mean, I get where they could have some value for other applications, like maybe if you're spraying, using them as a pressure washer, or to spray windows, maybe you don't want to go too hard, I guess, in that case. But for applying lawn care products, I like the dual action switch, 70 psi or 115 psi. That is what I would go with. I'm a huge fan of just a single switch, simpler. JG, you're very, very welcome. I appreciate the comment. It says, I have to admit, being new here, I have some catching up to do on the videos. Perfect weekend to do so. Yeah, man. I mean, it's yeah, I've got a lot of older content. Like a lot of the stuff this year is I keep saying this year. Last year, I covered a lot of those topics, and I'm going to do a dedicated video on edging for the lawn care course that I'm working on. So if any of you guys that are going to be interested in that, you'll like the content that is in that video that you can find from me. Like if you do like Ron Henry YouTube edging, like there's a video on edging. It talks all about like how to get the most out of edging. It actually answers the question that JG had. But I'm also going to do like probably a more condensed version with more information. It's just higher quality setup for the course. So if you're interested, you can check that out. But great question. Thank you for asking. LG says he still uses Milorganite because it doesn't turn the lawn light green in like some synthetics. I don't know how to explain it, but Milorganite produces a very deeper type of green. I agree. It's, the iron in it, and I think it's the iron, just whatever they put in that product, it does produce a very, very deep green. LG, I will tell you though, the one fertilizer that I have used though, that gets that same kind of green, and actually I want to say almost deeper. It almost looks like fake grass, is that Country Club, man. That Country Club from Lebanon Turf. If you can get your hands on some of that, this next season, that Country Club is no joke, man. That like the ProScape is a really good product too. It's also from Lebanon Turf. That's a great fertilizer. Like that is my go-to. But if you want the absolute best, and you also want a little bit of like a kelp in there, and you just want like the Mac Daddy fertilizers, in my opinion anyway. Country Club is an awesome fertilizer, and it's to your point, it is the one fertilizer that's a granular that produces a green that is, in my mind, surpasses the deep green you get out of Milorganite. But it's a great point that Milo produces that really deep green that a lot of synthetics have a hard time matching. Great, and Chris, you're very welcome. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching the content. I appreciate it. LG says, yeah, deeper than Scott's Green Max. Yeah, Scott's Greens Max is a good product, but it's not like the quality of, I don't know what they do in that fertilizer, but it produces a really, really deep green really fast. But it doesn't last very long. Whereas Milo, it tends to ramp up a little slower, probably with it being slow release, and it maintains the green a lot longer. Whereas with Green Max, you get a really deep green, in a couple of days, and it lasts maybe a week. I find with Milo, you can get 12 to 14 days, almost 2 weeks of that really deep, like, people driving by and stopping to see if your grass is really AstroTurf type green. You know what I mean? Like Milo's really good for that. It just lasts a little bit longer, and then it begins to fall off a little bit, and just, it turns like a normal grass color green. But I totally get what you're saying. LG and Milo doesn't have a lot of the salts and whatnot that you'll find in some of the synthetics, which is cool. Alex Lee, man. So all you guys know who Alex is. Next door neighbor, the Fix My Ugly Lawn series, the guy took on the challenge of doing like everything you have to do to fix a lawn, like all in one season. Kind of insane, but he did it anyway. Like, you talk about like getting the real mower, top dressing, mowing all the time like a crazy person, where the people think you're insane. He just did it all, and the result is pretty awesome. So yeah, Alex, thank you for hanging out, man. Thanks for chiming in. Yeah, awesome. Thanks for coming in and watching the content. Let's see. So what other questions do we have here? I think we're winding down. LG with a super chat, sir. Thank you so much.
Super chat received.
Says, here's in hopes that 2021 brings you good fortune and some landscaping around your back patio area. Maybe. I mean, I do have landscaping around my back patio area. It's called mulch. It's black mulch. It looks really nice. It's like, it's mulch. That's landscape. That counts. Mulch is landscaping. Just because it doesn't flower and get all pretty in colors, it still counts as landscaping, LG. You may not like it, but I think it still counts. Let's see. Richard says, I just bought a $3,000. Okay. See, so Richard, you left that part out. The $300 backpack sprayer might be a harder sell if you just spend $3,000 on a mower. However, the way we can look at that now, like the $300 sprayer as a function of what the mower costs is like peanuts, right? So it's much smaller. It's a small percentage, 10%, right? So, she should be okay with that, because you want to, you're going to have the mower. You want to make sure you're putting down all the products with using the best tools possible to get the best results. So, yeah, awesome. That's awesome. If you got a $3,000 mower, I'm assuming, well, I don't know. It could be a lot of different things. It could be an Allett, could be a Greensmaster, could be a Swordman. You let me know. Hit in the comments which mower you got. I'm not sure if you said already. All right, Kartik Key says, Ron, thank you so much for the awesome content. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, man. I really appreciate you guys like hanging out on the live stream. I know you guys have got other things you can be doing on a Friday night, but I really appreciate it. Let's see. So question about tenacity. It says, question on tenacity. Used it while overseeding in the fall. Can it be used as a pre-emergent in the spring? Possible to use it in flower beds, or prodiamine best weed control is best. So the question is really around what kind of grass you have, Kartik. If you're dealing with a cool season grass, tenacity is both. The thing with tenacity is that it's both, if memory serves me, it's both a selective, it's one of the few selective pre-emergents and post-emergence. So it's kind of a cool product. And if it's correct for your grass type, so if it's, I think a tenacity we should use on cool season grasses, then yeah, you can absolutely use it. It's probably not going to do as good a job as prodiamine as far as like the broad spectrum of weeds that it will control. Like if I were going to do one, I would probably do prodiamine, but tenacity is a great product too if you're also looking for some of that post-emergent action, right? So if you're trying to also, prevent weeds from germinating, but you're also trying to knock out some existing problem weeds in the lawn, tenacity could be a good option. But if you're looking probably for the best, if all you care about is pre-emergent, prodiamine is probably where I would go. So, but great question. Hopefully that helps answer it. As far as being able to use it in flower beds, I believe it's fine to use there. I would just be just check the label and make sure that whatever you've got in your flower beds, like it's not going to, that it's safe. It's safe for those types of whatever you've got growing in there. On the label, it should specify if there are types of plants or roses or some other shrubbery that can cause problems with. So just that would be my thing. When in doubt, read the label. Okay, let's see. What are the questions we have here? I'm talking you guys out. You guys are quieting down. So Moro says, LG, I hope you won raffles in my absence. He did. He got, what is LG? When did LG get the soil test kit? Yes, LG got one of the soil test kits. Yeah, so LG got one, Cheryl got one, and I think Darnell got the Brant Supreme Green. So yeah, he did win in your absence, Moro. I might do a giveaway tonight just to see if LG can keep the streak going. Okay, let's see here. And then Randy has a question. He says, is it too late to fertilize and be beneficial? Really want to get my soil healthy for overseeding and leveling this spring. It's not too late to amend the soil. So Randy, I'm assuming that you're in my area. So the way to answer your question, I have to know where you are and whether your lawn's dormant and what the temperatures are and those kinds of things. But the best way to know what your soil needs is to use one of these guys, is a soil test kit. So get a soil test and get that done. You can get one from here, MySoil, or so ron-henry.com/MySoil. What that's going to do is it's going to tell you where your soil pH is, where your macro and micronutrient levels are, like all the stuff, all the nutrients that the turf grass needs to be healthy. It's going to tell you where those levels are, so that you can begin fixing those things. So as far as, I'm going to assume you're in Georgia. I don't know where you are. You didn't say for sure, but let's say you're in Georgia. Let's say you're my neighbor, right? The things that I will be fixing right now, based on what the soil test tells me, are my soil pH. So if your soil pH is really high or really low, there are going to be products that are suggested that you can apply right now to help fix those, to help move those in the right areas. And then based on what you get out of the soil test results, come late February, early March, that's going to tell you, hey, what product should I be putting down to get my NPK, your nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium levels where they need to be. So the answer is get a soil test done, and then that's going to give you the information that you need to get your lawn healthy for overseeding and leveling this spring. If you need help, once you get your soil test, you get your results back. If you need help with interpreting it and knowing what products to apply, feel free to drop me an email here. It's ron@golfcourselawn.com. Shoot me an email, and I'll go through it, and I'll give you some product suggestions of what you can use to get your soil in good shape. But I am going to ask that you have a soil test results when you do that, because if you just say, hey, what should I put down? You're going to get the same answer that I'm giving you now. Pretty much get a soil test. I don't want to just finger in the air and just be guessing with your turf. I want to give you guidance or suggestions based on some actual data that actually makes sense. If that makes if that helps. But great question. It's not too late to fix your soil. If you have Bermuda, I would not go heavy on the fertilization now. But spring is going to be here soon, man. So we can start working on getting things ready. So hopefully that helps. Great question. So Chris Haynes says, it's kind of messed up that commercial mowers are so much quieter than residentials. You don't need Air Pro for my JD Greens mower, but absolutely required when using a residential Honda radio mower. Yeah, it is. I hear you, Chris. It is that is a good point that commercial mowers are quieter than the homeowner ones. But here's the thing: you got to realize it's also the use case. Like you're comparing two different things. Like a commercial, let's take like a really good, like a nice mower, a nice rotary mower, right? Like a Toro recycler, or what else? Or like a Honda, one of those, right? That's a $500 lawnmower. If you buy one of the higher end ones, say $800, $500 to $800 is what you're gonna spend on one of those. If you buy like a True Cut, brand new, they're $3,000, but you could pick one up for around $1,000 pre-owned. You can get one, right? Whereas a greens mower, regardless of what you paid for it, you may have got it for $1,500 or $2,000 or whatever. I don't know what you paid for it. Regardless of what you paid for it, what you are operating is a piece of equipment that is really a $10,000 to $12,000 piece of equipment, and it was designed for the purpose of mowing golf courses, like mowing golf greens and tee boxes and those kinds of things. And the thing you have to realize, the design criteria for those types of mowers is that like a lot of golf courses are in neighborhoods, and the people that can afford to buy a home and a golf course tend to they appreciate their sleep. They want to be able to sleep in, and because they run these mowers every day, like literally greens get mowed every day. Tee boxes probably similar, probably not every day, but they in other words, there's some part of the golf course being cut every single day. Like noises is kind of a big deal, because if you're running a mower that sounds like a battle cruiser, like you take my True Cut and crank that up on a golf course at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, you're gonna make some people upset. Like you're gonna wake people up. So yeah, I get that there is a difference, and that it kind of stinks that more manufacturers don't put more emphasis on making sure that sound levels are hearing safe for residential products. But it's not because they can't do it. It's just that the product would cost more, because you have to get like you have to design a nicer muffler system for it, which costs more money, which means the mower is going to cost more. And people, if they're trying to, it's a race to the bottom. If your market is like a $500 lawnmower, you can only do so much for $500, So I totally get what you're saying, but also realize that in many ways we're kind of comparing apples and oranges. It's like trying to complain as to why like a Civic won't do 200 miles an hour because it's a car, compared to like, I don't know, like a McLaren or something, right? They're just totally different leagues. Even though they both do the same thing, they're completely different animals. But great question and great point. Great point about sound levels. Okay, so Gary has a question. He says, "Hey Ron, do you know what the difference is between Celebration Bermuda and Tifway 419?" I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I know Celebration looks the leaf I've never seen it in person, but the leaf looks really fine with Celebration. It looks really, really nice. It looks really fine. And the videos that I've seen on YouTube, like the first time when I was first getting into real mowers, there's a video on YouTube of a guy mowing Celebration with a True Cut. Like if you Google or you YouTube like like Celebration Bermuda True Cut, the mowers, it's probably going to come up. You'll know you found the right one because he has like a brick on the top of the mower to try and keep the roller, keep it flat on the ground when he's doing it. You'll know the mower, you'll know the video whenever you find it. Because there's not that many people that have Celebration and also have True Cut, so you'll find it. And it looks, it's a really, really gorgeous grass. It's really, it's a very deep green color. It's very pretty. And so without seeing it in person, it's hard to say how it compares to Arden 15, but Arden 15 is very comparable. Like Arden 15, when it's in full swing, like in summer, looks almost blue. It's a gorgeous grass, which is probably why it costs so much money. But yeah, to answer your question, I don't know the real differences between the two. I don't know about the cold tolerance between them and that kind of thing. But yeah, they're both Bermuda, so they're both great. And if you have Celebration, it's a great grass. I would not replace your Celebration with anything else. If you got a Glonflow Celebration, keep it because it's a really, really good grass type. All right, let's see what other questions we have. So LG says live stream suggestion is Lee Purcell. All right, well I will look him up, and I will I'll see if he's willing to come on the live stream guest. Yeah, see if he's willing, because I do need to get a guest on here soon. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of seeing me all the time, right? I don't know if I should take that, how I should take that LG. Let's see. So what other questions do we have? We're kind of winding down, which means you guys are probably all about ready to get do this giveaway. See, Lee has a super chat. Lee, thank you so much, man.
Super chat received.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you for the support, sir. And we have, I think, a few more questions here from Wise Guy. He says, "Hey, Ron, does my yard have to be 100% flat and smooth for a real mower?" No, you don't. I mean, if you want to mow really low, you'll get a better result with it being smooth. But yes, you have my email. Send me an email later. Just drop me an email, and I will. I'll take a look at it. How your lawn currently looks. But yeah, it doesn't have to be 100% flat and smooth, but it's going to look better. Like, you know, once you start cutting under an inch with a real mower, it's going to, like, it's real mowers are much less likely to scalp at low cutting heights, even on a lawn that is not pool table smooth. Even for a lawn that's not been top dressed, you're less likely to get scalping with a real mower. But however, because you're cutting like under an inch, even though you're not getting scalping, the lawn's just not going to look as nice. It's going to look kind of like bumpy and uneven. It's just not going to look visually. It's just not going to look as nice as it would if you take that dive and do a top dressing. You're also going to improve the water retention capabilities of your turf, the ability to retain water. Like that is usually improved with top dressing. So there's a lot of benefits outside of just the lawn being smooth and looking cool. But to answer the question you just asked, no, you don't have to have a top dress lawn to use a real mower, but it is highly suggested and it will look better. And eventually you'll probably end up there, Wise Guy. But great question. And yeah, but feel free to send me a pictures of the lawn, and I will we'll dig into it. We can solve it together. So Washington State, yeah, cool. Thanks, Randy. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, let me know if I can help with anything else. But great question, and yeah, let me know. So you're probably dealing with cool season grass if you're that far up. Chris Jones says, "Hey, bud, what is the best product to overtake Bermuda or Zoysia in St. Augustine? The best product to kill Bermuda?" That's a good question. So here's the thing. I don't know that one. As far as I want to say, I think someone asked us. I think Monument is a herbicide that will that's safe for St. Augustine, but that will kill Bermuda. I believe that was a question I've gotten before. But what's the best product to overtake Bermuda? Yeah, I think that's what you're asking me. If you're asking Chris how to get rid of Bermuda out of St. Augustine, if that's your question, I believe Monument will do that. But I'm not 100% clear of what you're asking. But if you can put some more context in there, I can see if I can give you a better answer. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Moro Marcelo, Ron, did you ever inquire to My Soil on offering different quantity pack soil test kits? I did not. I will put that on. I will do that the next time I get a chance to talk to those guys. Soil test kit multi-packs. That's a great question. I think they have a 2-pack that you can get. Let me look here. I think you can get like multiple packs, right? Already, can't you? But I don't know I'm not sure how like you can get like multiple. Yeah. So if you look here, Moro, if we cut over, you see they make a 2 kit pack. So you can get like 2, and it also includes one of these shiny soil probes. But if you just want just a soil test kit, that's a great question. I don't know if they offer just that. And I said I was going to do it, and I didn't. I forgot, but I will ask them that. That's because if for some of you guys that are looking to do quarterly testing, maybe if you can pick up like 4 of them, so you're good for the entire year all at one time, you get a little price break on it. Might be something you might want to do. So it's good for them. So I'll definitely ask them about it. And then Kay Ward says, how many soil tests should you do throughout the year? At a minimum, Kay Ward, at least once a year. For best results, what I am going to do is quarterly. Like since I started doing this quarterly, I think it makes a lot of sense because it gives you the trend data to be able to make better decisions in your lawn. So every 3 months is the best. If you don't want, like if cash is tight and you don't want to spend that much on soil test kits, then at least once a year, and ideally in the early spring is when I would do it. But really quarterly is what I would. That's what I would go for if you can. They're not terribly expensive. I mean, given what we spend money on fertilizers and everything else, I mean, a soil test kit at $30 is really not that much money given all the valuable information you get out of it. So just something to think about. Let's see. Yeah. So Sansa Celebration is a deep blue green. It's finished the best in numerous university tests for wear tolerance, recovery, drought resistance, and shade tolerance. So there you go. So Stan G is saying that Celebration is the master Bermuda grass. Like he's saying it's the most epic. I mean, I think Arden is quite nice, but he's saying the Celebration is coming through by people that actually are the experts that measure these things. Let's see. Last few questions we've got here. So John T says, Ron, where's your perennial, your PRG overseed? Here's the thing. Maybe this fall I'll consider it. I didn't want to do it this year because I really want to focus on getting my overseed project with Arden 15 to do well, John. So I didn't want to dirty things up by having to spray herbicides and all this kind of stuff to get rid of the perennial rye. But maybe this fall, the thing is, watching the Masters, this past one, when was it? November, October, whatever it was later in the year, and the grass was looking solid. So maybe this fall I'll consider a perennial rye overseed. Once I get the Arden 15, I'm happy with it. It's doing good. Then I think the perennial rye overseed could be a thing this fall. This fall winter. We'll see. Not this year though, for a good reason. And all right, cool. So let's see. I think we're out of questions. Flow zone sprayer is good for homeowner. Cool season grass, lawn ryegrass. Let's see what he says here. For cool season ryegrass, can I overseed with a grass that is in regulation? Yes, Richard, you can. So that's a great question, Richard. So this is what you're discussing is what I'm going to be doing in the spring. So my plan in the spring, without replaying the entire process, is I am going to verticut the lawn a couple different ways to really thin things out. And then I'm going to put down plant growth regulator. I'm going to do a full application of probably T-Nex, on my Tifway / or Arden 15 lawn, the current existing lawn. So I can really make sure I can suppress top growth. Because the thing is, PGR suppresses gibberellic acid synthesis. So it really works only in like grass that's already around. Started in active grass, in other words. It's not going to hurt your overseed project. So something like Pre-Emergent would hurt overseeding. PGR is not going to hurt overseeding typically. I mean, and actually on some labels, I think T-Nex actually has it on their label. Other T-Nex does it. I think that other one, my mind escapes with it, but the other one I've talked about that I've used, on their label, they actually have notes around overseeding and application. So yes, you absolutely can overseed with a grass that is in regulation, and that's frankly, if you stick around the channel and watch the content, you're going to see me doing that. Like that is going to be my process when I overseed with Arden this spring. So yes, you absolutely can do that. The two do not hurt each other. All right. Let's see, what else do we have here? Morrow says, Ron, are you currently separating your soil tests, i.e. front, rear, and sides? No, I haven't. I've been just doing them all in one. I've been doing samples of the front, of the same areas on the front, side, and the back lawn. I've been doing that, and I've started doing that, so I'm just going to probably stick with it. Just so the data is consistent. I guess at some point I could switch and do a test for the front and a test for the back. But I don't imagine, the results shouldn't be that different. I wouldn't think so. So plus, I mean, me using 8 soil test kits per year versus 4, right? So there's also that. But for a bigger property, here's the thing I would say, Moro. When you're first starting out, when you're first, like if you've never soil tested your lawn at all before, the first time, there's probably a lot of value in doing that. There's probably some value in doing a test for the front, the side, and rear of different major parts of your lawn, and then amend those and get everything like cherried up or get everything kind of on the same level, same playing field. And then you could probably move to one soil test that's a combination of those areas once you've established that you've gotten the levels corrected in those areas. Because really, at that point, once they're all the same, everything should move around at fairly the same rate. In other words, like, if your pH is dropping, it should drop at relatively the same rate on the front, back, and side lawn, if that makes sense. So great. Great question though. Caleb Phillips says, what's the height of cut range on your 1600? Oh, it is, I want to say it's 0.12. So 0.12 inches, if memory serves me, up to 1.25 inches. Caleb, that's I believe that's correct. So so just over 0.125 inches up to 1.25 inches is what 1600 will do. I believe that's correct. I'm trying to remember from the video that I did on that last year. But yeah, check out my channel because I did a review of the Toro Greensmaster 1600, and in there I definitely cover the height of cut range. But if memory serves me, it's like 0.125 up to 1.25 inches. That is what you can get out of a 60. Yeah, there you go. So John confirmed that. He says that it goes up to 1.25 inches. It says Brett overseeded his lawn with a salad bar. Looks pretty decent on camera. You guys be nice to Brett. Leave him alone. And let's see. Caleb Phillips says, does the 1600 work as well at the height of cut 1.25 inches? I don't know, sir. I've never actually cut that high. My mower has never been at 1.25 inches. So I don't know how it does at those heights of cut. I imagine it's all right. But really Bermuda, like if you go and you buy a Greensmaster and you're using on Bermuda, you really need to be under 1 inch. Really, I'd say the highest you really want to be is 0.75 inches. That's where that mower shines, down to heights at 0.5 inch or so. So just something to consider. But yeah, definitely check out my video, because there's a video that I've done on the Greensmaster that covers like everything I knew about it at the time in excruciating detail. And if you have a Greensmaster and you're interested in like learning how to set up the height of cut on it, all this kind of stuff, I recently put out a video that talks about like how to do that, how to use an AccuGauge to get like a really good height of cut setup. All right. All right, and then I think we're out of questions, guys. Let's see here. So sure, you maxed out and can't go any higher. If you miss a mow, I wouldn't recommend going higher. Yep. So great points, John. And then Armando Marti says, will a Flow Zone's backpack sprayer help spread fertilizers to improve soil tests? Yeah. So that's a good question, Armando. They can. The answer is they can. With proper technique, they can, right? So if you are applying the product at the correct rate, so if you're applying, say, 1 gallon, you mix the product properly, or you have like 4 gallons worth of whatever you're applying in the sprayer, assuming you're filling the sprayer all the way up, and you set your walking pace to where every 90 seconds or so, you're covering 1,000 square feet, then you're applying the product at the correct rate. And that, yes, can and will materially improve soil test results. So it'll help improve your soil test data. So yeah, so it all goes into if you're applying the right product and if you're applying it properly, it's going to help improve your lawn. Yeah. So whether that's a Flow Zone sprayer or a broadcast spreader, if you're using them correctly, they'll help with your lawn. And if you are considering picking up a Flow Zone, you can grab one here using my shameless plug link on Amazon right there, Armando. So thank you so much. Let's see what other questions we have here. So we have a question about quality of cut from John. He says, lots of other factors to cut quality at various heights. Exactly, such as blade count in your reel, 11 blade or higher for 1/2 inch. No, let's see, 11 blade or higher for 1/2 inch or lower. And then the way he said it was difficult to read, or 7 or 8 blade for 1/2 inch or higher. So yeah, so what John is pretty much saying, so my Greensmaster with an 8 blade reel, like the magic height of cut, like the where that reel, the clip rate is works best, is around 1/2 inch. So between 1/2 inch up to about 3/4 inch, that's where that 8 blade reel really shines. Once you get higher in blade count, which means the clip rate is going to go higher, like the number of times the the blade, the reel is cutting the grass in a given pass and a given distance, that's ideal for lower heights of cut. So, and most people honestly can't pull off maintaining their lawn at under half an inch for the entire season. It's a lot of people say they try it, but it's actually pretty difficult to do due to the mowing requirements, the chemical requirements like using PGR, and also the verticutting or you're scarifying, the stuff you need to do to thin out the lawn, because like Bermuda or Zoysia, if you start cutting it really low, it's going to get super dense, and you have to thin it out to be able to keep it nice at those lower heights of cut. So 8-blade is typically what I would say to go with for most homeowners. Cool. So very, very, very good, guys. And then Stan has a question. He says Tifway 419 has a vigorous grower and which is dense and low growth habit and has a fast recovery rate from wear and traffic. Tifway 419 is also used on sports fields and many landscape settings. Well said, Stan. So yeah, so Tifway is it's a lot of the new sod that's put in around here is all Tifway. Like Alex's lawn is Tifway. So if you liked how his lawn looks, you'd like Tifway. You know, I mean, Tifway is an awesome grass. I mean, there's no reason to really replace it unless you're a crazy person like me, and you know, you take a few trees being removed to an entirely extreme level by overseeding your entire lawn. So Tifway 419 is an awesome Bermuda grass. It looks like. Yeah, type Paclo. Type Paclo. That's the question. That's the other PGR I was talking about. Type Paclo 2SC is the other one PGR I was talking about. But great, awesome, John. Thanks for chiming in. Okay, guys, it is time for the 62 or so of you that are left. Before we get into the giveaway, a sticker giveaway, and LG, I've not forgotten. I still gotta, since I have to mail these out, I still need to send your replacement sticker. Now, just saying that remind me of it. Before we do that, be sure to hit the like button, guys. There's been 60 something people in here tonight, and I've only got, how many likes are there? 49 likes. You guys can do better than that. I mean, I would expect this on other live streams, but I know you guys can do better than 50 likes, 58 likes on this live stream. So help me out. All right, guys. So for the 2 stripe action stickers, we're going to do this in our normal where we're gonna ask a question. It's gonna be a softball question, fairly easy one. I'm gonna think, what have we talked about tonight that you guys should know? Okay, yeah. So we'll go with this one. So I spoke about a couple of products that we can use on a lawn for taking care of nutsedge. A concoction, like there's 2 products that I suggested that you mix in a sprayer that the 2 of them work really well together for taking care of nutsedge. What are those 2 products? You're gonna have 30 seconds to answer. And your 30 seconds, I don't know if Cheryl's on the live stream, but she's definitely going to know. And your 30 seconds starts now. So what were the 2 products that you can use to treat nutsedge, eliminate nutsedge in a lawn? I can tell you one of them, I'll give you guys one of them. One of them is Image. What's the other one? What is the other product? Ortho and Image, I'll take that. What's the other one? The other one actually has the name of nutsedge kind of in the name of it, the other product. Ortho, says what else we got? Image and Sedgehammer, JG, ding, ding, ding. That's our winner. So she had it. She got the question right first off. And that's actually what I should do. The person that answers correctly first should automatically win the sticker, and the other one should have to go into a drawing. So I think we'll start doing that starting next week. All right, so in here, we've got, so we have, you guys have to be patient with me because I got to start typing names here. And Maura Michelle, to answer your question, did I consider the electric? Not really, because they are super expensive to replace the battery on. So I didn't consider the hybrid, the electric greens mower, because they're just the battery replacements on those is going to be really expensive. So we got on the lawn training is our first one. Training, and then lawn to lawn, and then our third is going to be JG. And actually, let me do this with you guys. You can actually see. I have to keep it all above board band, so you guys don't think that I'm pulling a fast one on you. See, let me see if I can show this. Can I do this? Let me see. How can I do this? Can I do that? And boom, there we go. All right, so we're going through this. So JG is number 3, the Wind Chariot, the Chariot. And Super TA is throwing in his hat. Amando is in there. Moro. So Moro, I gotta tell you, man, if you win tonight, there's probably gonna be some hate in the comments. I'm just gonna warn you right now, because you're like the guy that's won more than anyone else. We have Wise Guy in there. We have Helmet, Ruckus, and I think I've got everyone. Did I miss anyone? Chris, Sedgehammer, Chris. LG is just see John Teague is in there. I can't type, man. I can't type and read at the same time. And then LG, of course. LG's trying to not be at the very beginning or very end. Very good strategy, LG. I like it. And then Chris is in here. Chris B. And finally, we have Stan G. I think that is all. Is that everybody? I think I've got everyone. No, they do have a multi-pack. Yep, I think I've got everyone. So we have Richard. We'll add Richard. And Miles, just because you're still here, we'll enter you too. All right, so we have, let's count. Let's start from the top here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 people. I don't think I left anyone out. I don't think so. If I did, speak now, forever hold your peace. 16 people. I think I got all you in here. So let's go over to the Google. We will switch over to Safari now. All right, so we have a total of 16 people. Let me just warm up the number generator. I'm just gonna kind of just get all the bugs out, make sure everything is good. See if I can get this off the screen. So I'll test off of there. All right, so it's all warmed up. I primed it. We're gonna go to 16 people. Are you ready? Our first winner of the premium. This is the big one. This is the small stripe action sticker. This is the big stripe action sticker. These are the more expensive ones. The winner of the very first one is number 14. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be Stan G. So we'll go through. We'll go back to our list here. I think it's Stan G. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Stan G, you are the winner, sir, of the first sticker. There you go. So if you don't mind, drop me an email to ron@ron-henry.com or ron@golfcourselawn.com. I'll have the email address up here. I'll put it up at the end once we do the other drawing. And you can email me your address of where you want the sticker to go there. So we will reduce our number by 1 to 15, and we will also remove Stan. So Stan is out, and let's do our second drawing. So now, for the second stripe action sticker, the winner, number 13, it went down 1. You guys saw, I clicked it. It dropped 1, literally. So I think that's going to be Chris. Is it Chris or El? Let me see, who's that? So let's go back to our list. I can't believe it only went down 1. That's crazy. RNG, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. LG, you just missed it. 13. Chris B is the winner of our second stripe action sticker. Congratulations, sir. Awesome. So those are our 2 winners tonight. So close, yet so far. So Stan G and Chris, if you guys don't mind, please send me an email here. Put my email address on the screen. That'd be helpful, right? There it is. So ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email with your mailing address of where you want these to go, and I will get these mailed out. LG, I'll also send you out a replacement one because I know the one that you got, there was a problem with it, so I'll make sure you get that one. And we will go from there. So guys, yeah, congratulations, guys. Oh, so Grace, great question. Yeah, the question was around image and Sedgehammer. But I'll think of a cool question for next week. We might do another one next week, depending on whether I get someone else on the live stream. But guys, congratulations for winning. Anyone that won tonight, please be sure to send me your mailing address so I can get these out to you. I don't want to hold on to them because I want to get them gone. And we'll go from there. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys are on the live stream and those that are not yet subscribers, please consider subscribing. Also, shameless plug, if you are interested in being notified whenever my lawn care course is at a point where I feel good about releasing it and getting some feedback from you guys, feel free to go here, golfcourselawn.com. That is where you can see my sign-up page. You'll see what it looks like. I can actually show you guys that right now. I'm actually pretty proud of it. Put that together. Let me go to Safari right there. It's gonna look like this. Learn how to transform your lawn from ordinary to extraordinary. And if you click on the Get Notified link, what you will see is a nicely crafted place where you can put in your name and email address, and I will send you an email whenever the course is ready. And you'll probably also be, the people on that list will probably also be some of the ones that will get, they'll probably get a deal, like a discount on it, and probably you'll see some of the content that other people won't see ahead of time to kind of get feedback. So if you're interested in that, feel free to do so. I promise I won't share your email address with anyone else or use it for any other purposes. And I'd really appreciate it. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun jazz. Hit the like button on your way out. Guys, have an amazing weekend. Think of what you guys are going to be doing in your lawn. Get it ready. Soil testing, I think, is always a great option. And if you are in California, if you're in one of those areas where you can actually get out there and mow, carry the flag for the rest of us, man. Though, someone needs to be out mowing this weekend. I'm not going to be doing it. So if you guys are in an area of the lawn where you can mow, get out and mow and have some fun in the lawn. I will see you guys next time. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.